he wearing his own shirt?
Yeah, they all do.
With their faces on it?
Not with their faces on them. They wear all their merchandise. They get a big bump when they sell merchandise. They get a big bonus. They get like a chunk of their.
The art looks good though.
Thank you.
We eat too?
We did the last time.
That's what I'm saying. It looks like I hated it. I gotta wash all my bricks. Well, there's a guy down here in the bottom left who has got a real bright pink shirt on. Oh, this guy's wearing the same shirt as John Cena.
Except it's pink.
No, it's blue. I don't recognize that intro.
It's a new intro. You'll recognize the guy that comes out.
The guy with the bad hair.
Yep.
The Gollum hair. Oh yeah, it's Gollum hair, isn't it? God, it's scary too thin to do this. Someone should tell him. He really wet his hair. That outfit looks stupid. It looks like a tackle box.
What?
Old milk face here is running out of her mouth. Hey, Daddy. Have an old milk face.
She pooped.
I know. Is it on her?
Yeah. It's on her shirt. Yeah.
All I had with me was a baby drive. That would be why. Well, I guess we're going to take care of that. Daddy, you doing that, Keith? Whoa, whoa, whoa. She done ate my face off. Oh, man. This one doesn't come down. It doesn't have the tabs. Oh, poor thing. Literally, it doesn't have the tabs on the top. Well, we're about to get real interesting. Oh, goodness. Woo,
What's up, guys? Welcome to SummerSlam, where we just talk over SummerSlam for a while for the next 4 hours or so, as far as that goes. So we trying to first match of the night is John Cena and Baron Corbin tonight as we kick off the show here, SummerSlam 2017. My name is Aaron. I'm Aaron-in-Chief of MonstersOfGeek.com. We have a podcast that we are heading towards 50 episodes called the Monsters of Geek Podcast. You can find us on iTunes. You can find us on Stitcher as well. So please kind of subscribe to us there if you like what we talk about. We are starting a wrestling podcast soon. As far, it'll be a separate type of show for that, away from the or separate from the main show that we do with our with a panel of our contributors. So go check us out, monstergeek.com. We haven't put something up in a while. We all have families, so we just kind of we get there when we can when it comes to the writing portion of this. So hopefully we can pick that up. Through this first part, I'm going to trying to do some Facebook stuff as well. So if you have any questions or anything, just pop it up. I do have the chat pulled out. And so here we go here. Dark Young just popped in there. No, I can't, man. I'm not. This is just we just talk about the matches going on. So sorry about that. But as I said in the description there, this is just us talking over. We don't want to break any YouTube rules or anything like that. So, but yeah, we want to play within the same rules. So I appreciate you dropping by. If you want to keep with us, I think the WB Network's probably got a 30-day trial or something like that you can check out and follow with us. But unfortunately, nothing as far as me turning the screen around and showing the event there. So sorry about that. Let's see. So, of course, the storyline of Baron Corbin, he tried to cash in, became, I believe, the first one, I believe, to not win. I think, or I'm sorry, the second one. Of course, Cena cashed in and couldn't win the title in a real match. So they actually, so this is the first time I can remember someone running down and not being able to win it. If I'm wrong on that, please, send me please post in the chat there and tell me which one was it. So. Yeah, sorry, Doc Young, man. I wish I could help you out, but again, that's that would be trouble possibly for not only YouTube but for me personally if I tried to show it. So I appreciate you dropping by, but unfortunately can't do that. Unfortunately. Let's see.
Former three-time Gold Glove champion. Baron Corbin doing what he does best.
So Baron Corbin controlling the match now. Of course, the big news from yesterday. If you haven't watched NXT, please please cover your ears for just a second there. But basically what happened, big time addition to the NXT roster, actually a couple big time additions, of course. Talk about Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly, which O'Reilly made his debut a couple weeks ago against Aleister Black. I think it was Aleister Black, I think his name. The other thing, of course, that we knew that they signed Bobby Fish. I don't believe that he had made his NXT debut yet. They jumped Sanity after Sanity won the NXT Tag Team titles. Jumped Sanity and debuted as Red Dragon is now in as a tag team. So Red Dragon, which you haven't seen their work in Japan and ROH, they're an awesome tag team. More of a MMA style tag team. They do some flying stuff, really good double team moves. Just a really exciting tag team to have in NXT. But Red Dragon is NXT. Then later on, they were joined by Adam Cole, baby, as he comes out and attacks the new NXT champion, Drew McIntyre. Just a great way to end the pay-per-view. Of course, they didn't show him do the Adam Cole baby on WBE. They did that for a WBE exclusive, and the crowd just as soon as he jumped out, the crowd lit up. As soon as he did that, the whole crowd, repeated it back to him or said it with him. So it's a cool thing. I'm a big Adam Cole fan. I think he's a great wrestler. He's really built his persona up and just a really, of course, he was in the Bullet Club. Haven't seen him for a while. He's done some indie shows here or there, but it was pretty heavily rumored that he was going to be in WB at this NXT show, and definitely booked him to make an impact. And so super glad to see him in NXT. I hope they use him right. That type of faction, there's been rumors that there's an ROH faction that was coming. I think I read that on Up Rocks, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So that would be a good way to start with those three guys. But if you don't know who Adam Cole is, he was a former ROH champion, first three-time ROH champion. If you know the history of ROH, there hasn't been many double champions or champions, two-time champion, let alone a three-time champ. So he's the first three-time champion to go on. And there was, I don't know if it was an unspoken rule, maybe a rule when ROH first started, was that they had long title runs. Most of the time had long title runs. And usually if you won it, you didn't win it back if you lost it. You just went into another program. So ROH had, Samoa Joe had a long run. Of course, Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson there had a pretty long run as WB champ. So some cool stuff there as far as overall, but a big addition there for the NXT is Adam Cole. So some big, of course, SummerSlam has become kind of the WrestleMania of the summer to a certain extent. Big time matches, and I will run down the card a little bit here just to try to see as far as what we're doing there. I'm going to try to figure out how to get this on Facebook Live so we can have a little bit better discussion going on. as far as that goes. So I'll maybe get quiet here for just a second, but we'll try to pop this up and do what we need to do here. Of course, both these guys are. Corbin's just an unlikable guy. He reminds me a lot of Randy Orton when Orton first started. Just kind of an unlikable guy. Has what my wife and some other people say, a punchable face. And he, of course, his hairdo needs some work. He's got, I don't even know what you call that, but has a terrible receding hairline. Just some really long hair in the back, and it looks really weird. Just doesn't look great. To be able to do that. But this is a big-time shot for him to be here with Cena at SummerSlam. Cena, apparently an interesting stat for Cena is that he's lost 6 SummerSlam matches in a row, which is, weird for John as far as just overall. So it's interesting to kind of see that and see how kind of he's doing that. Definitely something that is not John Cena. I guess his way, David Book, he just got dropped on his head again on accident. It wasn't necessarily Corbin's fault. He just kind of fell on Corbin's knee a little bit different. Let's see here. I'm trying to get some audio from the stream as well, along with my microphone here. So if you'll just kind of bear with me here to be able to do that. Let's see.
Corbin up to the top here. Look at Cena. Look at Cena resisting there with the left arm. Ready to go muscle for muscle here with Baron Corbin on the top turnbuckle. And Cena with the headbutts here.
It's been a pretty good match. Nothing spectacular. I'd expect this to be spectacular. Corbin's a good enough worker to have I'm not saying he's not talented in the ring. Because he is. I think that he is a little bit underrated. I think a lot of people just don't like him, as he said some pretty disparaging things about indie wrestling at some point. And that was kind of his shtick for a while on NXT when he was there. Never really got a serious run. He had a match with Samoa Joe. He beat Apollo Crews when Apollo Crews was probably one of the more over people in NXT. Pretty athletic big man to a certain extent. As far as just overall, I think he can do more than what more than what people think there. So it's interesting. Definitely something that overall that I think that he could definitely be a different person or possibly something like that. So.
Corbin realizes what slipped through his hands this past Tuesday night on SmackDown Live. And Corbin exposing the elbow here. And these forearm shots to Cena, who's down again. Corbin through playing around here in this match with Cena. With the eyes of Corbin still at all. Now it's just about dishing out punishment here in the corner. Look at Corbin going on Cena.
So if I get silent here, I'm trying to mess around with some stuff here to kind of make this a better experience. I don't think I have a ton of people watching right now. So I appreciate if you guys are here. I'm kind of using the first part of this to kind of mess around in this a little bit. I didn't have time to sit down and do it today. So let's see. Corbin just got his head took off by a big clothesline. And he just beat Corbin. So tough week for Corbin. So apparently the rumor has it that Corbin didn't have, I guess, the confidence of the back. I don't think he's necessarily got super over even as a heel. I'm not really for sure. I'm not really for sure in the sense of how they're kind of looking at him. He came in with some pretty good. I mean, it looked like, especially after he won the, especially after he came out and won the Money in the Bank, obviously, that he that he was going to be able to maybe get some traction on SmackDown. I'm not saying he didn't have necessarily traction. Like I said, he came in. I thought that, regardless of what I thought maybe, they kind of hot showed him a little bit as far as just overall. And I think that's where things kind of went awry, to be quite honest. I think that, overall he just hasn't – I think people just don't like him. And I think it's different having that kind of automatic heel heat and then being able to kind of do some different stuff here. So it's interesting. Like I said, I think he has some natural heat. So just overall, I just don't know if I just think that he kind of lost some stuff there. So unfortunately, it does look like they've kind of lost a little bit of confidence in him. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of him. I don't want anybody to not, let's be 100% honest. Like, when you get a bad booking, and I think, again, you look at Roman Reigns for the perfect example, and I'm not a Roman Reigns hater by any stretch. But let's see. And I've said that numerous times before that, So I think that overall,
Big ups to Rocket League for letting us do this. It's time. Well, the New Day might have been handing out titles to Rocket League, but on the Summerslam kickoff, the New Day losing the SmackDown Tag Team titles to the Usos in an incredible match. Yeah, an incredible match of the two best tag team shipping teams in the past 10 years. It was the Uso penitentiary, though, and walk out the belt. And we are just getting started here on SummerSlam. John Cena kicking it off with a win, and up next, the SmackDown Women's title will be contended for. Remember, last month when Natalya won this opportunity, she thought very little of what Naomi became as a champion.
You tarnished everything that a WWE Championship stands for. You turned this into a kid's toy.
I didn't tarnish the title, I earned it. And I added a little piece of myself to it. So keep throwing your shade. At SummerSlam, you're going to be blinded by the glow.
This was his past week on SmackDown Live. After winning a matchup against Becky Lynch via submission, Natalya would go one more time for the Heartbeat of a sharpshooter, and then Naomi would jump off the commentary to the third.
Hey.
Hey, sorry.
Let's go. I don't think nobody's on right now.
I'm at the hips and was eating and all that fun stuff. Anything good happen?
Cena just beat Corbin.
Oh, of course, because he can't put anybody over.
Not at SummerSlam. He's lost 6 in a row at SummerSlam.
Oh, really?
Yep.
We gotta log on.
I'm trying to set it up where we can stream it on Facebook too. And so let's go here. Create multi-output device. There we go.
Natalya's fancy calling herself now the glow stopper on the traditional frequent for the SmackDown Championship. And by tradition, the Hart family at SummerSlam. That goes very well for Natalya.
Who was the pre-match?
A couple matches.
Good.
Who was on that? Oh, well, darn. Neville beat Tozawa for the cruiserweight title, and which I kind of figured would happen. And then give me 1 second. Listen to this guy on YouTube for a second. And then the New Day lost the tag titles to the Usos.
Okay.
Every day that she wakes up and to compete, that could be the day that Carmella decides to cash in.
Okay. Really? It's not letting me sign in.
Women's Championship. Introducing the challenger from Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
Okay, so that should work.
And her opponent from Orlando, Florida. She is the SmackDown Women's Champion.
If I'm not talking, man, I'm trying to figure out how to do some of this stuff here. Okay, so
and we are about to find out who is on top in the SmackDown Women's Division. The title is intended for here tonight live in Brooklyn. You recall Battleground, Natalia, right to the face, Naomi got the big ball, not even left her hand. Wow, right off the back, Natalia slapping Naomi. Bad attitude is continuing here. Look at that camera, what is Naomi? They go right to the camera. Oh, big elbow there by Naomi, battling back. Natalia, oh man, through to the top rope to her advantage. Oh, it's right there to the back of the neck. Oh, and now goes Natalia, and early the action intensifying.
And if you're here with us today, thank you for tuning in here. We are watching SummerSlam 2017. Joe Yeti is going to be here just a quick second as he's going to try to log in. I believe his WB account's giving him some issues here, but he's going to try to log in here. If you're just joining us, John Cena defeated Baron Corbin. Tough week for Corbin. He cashed in and was rolled up by Jinder Mahal, and then also loses to John Cena here on SummerSlam. Quick stat, that was the first win for John Cena in 6 SummerSlams. So Joe came on and said Cena can't put anybody over, and I corrected him pretty quickly. I said that at SummerSlam, he tends to put people over. So expect Corbin to maybe get a win against Cena. Apparently, if you're just tuning in, there were some issues with WB kind of losing some confidence in him, and that's why he lost the briefcase, which now the briefcase is done for the whole year, which kind of sucks. But because that briefcase is probably one of the funner things that WB has, or should I say Chris Jericho has come up with that WB has used. Of course, John Cena gets a SummerSlam win. Could be one of those things where Cena, my wife asked me before that when he's going to retire. I think he's getting awful close to retiring soon. So we'll see. I know he's got some movie roles. He's going to be in the new Bumblebee movie, the Transformers spinoff. So it's going to be interesting to see kind of where his career goes and where he gets kind of used in WBE, I guess I should say.
Oh my God. Where did that go to?
Watch this one more time. A big boom. You can hear me.
Well,
So no, when you sign in?
no, I was not redoing my email, but I didn't get the. There it is.
Oh, man, look at Natalia. Look at Natalia stomping on the champion. You're talking about her experience here. She was so decent again. And again, Natalia not letting up here.
What are you talking about?
So technically proficient off the suplex there, trying to get Naomi in position. Look at the pinfall here and a kick out.
We're not signing in somewhere else, are you?
It don't matter. It's not on.
This money in the bank, the contract for his SmackDown and his title opportunity anytime, anywhere.
Oh, yeah.
It's what we talked about, whether you're Natalia or Naomi. You got to worry about that. Now another cover from Natalia, the kick out by Naomi. So Melody, we cash in tonight. Whoever walks out here champion. And Natalia, hold on a second, caught here. Caught by Naomi and a kick out at 2. And Natalia right back on Naomi. There was a briefcase with Carmelo. The other thing I can't describe. It's called an elbow. So hold on a second. Another cover here on Naomi and a kick out. That's very beneficial for Carmelo even getting the contract, but right now it's all about the championship match here. Natalia is happy to wait here finally with Naomi. And a smile tells the story of the confidence Natalia has in this match right now.
It'll help if I put the right email address in it is. I didn't think I had it underneath that one.
But Natalia's made it clear she does not respect Naomi as the SmackDown Live Women's Champion. Natalia's a purist. You don't know Naomi did to that title. And connects right on the thighs here. And look at Naomi with a ton of force behind his kick. And Natalia showing off the power. And Natalia in another cover here to win the title and a kick out. And Natalia's dishing out some damage, but so far Naomi's been able to withstand it here in SummerSlam. Yeah, but the onslaught is taking effect on Naomi, no doubt. The abdominal stretch and fly here by Natalia on Naomi. You gotta wonder how much more of this can the champion take at the hands of the challenger. He has it cinched in, has the perfect positioning in the center of the ring.
So if you just joined us on YouTube, sorry for the silence here. We've got the WWE Women's Championship match going on. We have Naomi, which is the current champion, and all her neon glory versus Natalia.
And now Natalia, one more cover here on Naomi for the title, and another kick out. And the frustration starting to mount here for Natalia. Natalia did an interview a couple years ago and said, look, I've never been the shiny. I've never been the shiny of your toy. I've never been the chosen one, the feature attraction. But that all changes tonight. Going up to the turnbuckle here with Naomi. Natalia and Naomi all coming up here. Oh, and a shot to the back by Naomi. Naomi trying to alter the point. On the middle rope. Rush length above that mid rope, and then Naomi doesn't have enough to be able to capitalize on it. The good thing at the very least, Naomi bought the shot.
Want to do that.
Able to stymie anything that Natalia had in mind there on the top turnbuckle, but now Naomi's got an opportunity to regroup. Look at this. Oh, cover, and a kick out.
Did you get pulled up?
There we go. Just like Naomi did. Naomi just wasn't able to capitalize on the pinning. And Natalia, look at Natalia, fire back on the right hand, says, stays Naomi with an attitude on the jaw, locking the challenger.
Tell when you get ready. So if you just join us, just wait for Yeti to kind of get his stuff going. We're going to try to go on Facebook Live. I think I've got this figured out where we can get some audio and video on Facebook as well to field some questions. And I'll probably end up pulling that up on my phone to kind of look at some questions here. But you are watching, or we're watching SummerSlam 2017. If you don't know who we are, don't worry. There's not a lot of people to do. It's the Monsters of Geek podcast and monstersofgeek.com. My name is Aaron. I'm your editor-in-chief. Yeti's trying to get his stuff ready. His account's not really working correctly, so he is going to try to get that set up. But Jared should join us shortly. He's going to watch Game of Thrones, and then he's going to to be on. I don't know what time Game of Thrones comes on, so I'm not really for sure exactly how that's going to work.
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock. Okay, so he'll probably get in just in time, possibly for the main event there. But it's going to be me and Yeti. Yeti turned down your volume a little bit. There we go. All right. So if you're on YouTube, we do have a little chat box opened up here. Again, actually a big shout out to Dark Young there. He came on wanting us to kind of show the pay-per-view. We don't do that here. That could get us in trouble with both WB and YouTube. And we like YouTube an awful lot. We like to put content on there from time to time. So we are not going to show what's going on here overall. So, but we're going to try to kind of mess some stuff. We're going to try to mess around here just a little bit with some Facebook Live stuff going on. So we're going to pop this up here in a minute. We're going to do some testing here. Yeti, I believe, is still having a little bit of issues there. How you doing there, tag partner?
I might have to go to my iPad.
Okay.
On my PlayStation.
Okay. Is it not working on TV?
I don't know. It's working. It's just slow for some reason. I thought it'd be better on the computer. I just don't know if I have enough battery on the iPad or not.
So in 1 second, I'm going to have to download Facebook because Facebook has been off my phone for the last, 3 or 4 months, I guess. So Naomi almost looking for a submission. I'm not really for sure what she was doing there, but looks like Natalia's going to reverse it. Trying to get into a sharpshooter position here. That looked like a botched spot. I'm not really for sure what happened there, but I don't think that was supposed to go. And now it's into the sharpshooter for Naomi, which I'd be really surprised if Naomi lost the belt here. I don't think that would be very smart booking. I like Natalya, but I think this is just kind of one of those stopgap. But it looks like she's got her dragged right back into the middle of the ring here.
Let's see if it's all work.
Watch this one more time. Watch Naomi.
Now we're going back to the sharpshooter. Maybe I was going to be wrong here. I think it would be really weird for Natalya to make. Oh, and she tapped her out. So Natalya's the new SmackDown champion. Weird booking decision here. Joe, can I give you thoughts while you're getting fired up here? We had not seen Naomi and Charlotte yet, and that was the match that. Yeah, 1 second. I gotta get my dog a kiss.
For the first time in 6 years, Natalya is once again a champion. The confidence on the face of the champion in receiving the title as if she expected it, as if she knew that she would fail in a SummerSlam. Can't take anything away from the fight and the effort of the now former champion. As if we thought we'd do it. Oh, Natalya. Remember how she sent Charlotte into that early the opportunity.
So Naomi loses the WWE Women's or the SmackDown Women's Championship, which again I think was trying to build. What I understood, trying to build to Charlotte and Naomi, but we're not going to get that, which is a weird booking decision. Natalya wins the championship. Natalya's a great wrestler, just did not see that coming. We've seen Natalya and Charlotte a couple times when they was on Raw.
Maybe with everything that's going on for Rick, they have to book it differently.
Well, that's true. I didn't think about that. Everything going on with Rick, of course, if you don't know Ric Flair, had a pretty serious scare, and is still in the hospital, actually. He is going better. Of course, I read an article that he was cutting promos on the nurses and the help, which sounds exactly what Ric Flair would do. So it seems like they're going a different direction. It could very well be that, give Charlotte some more, which I'm not for sure if Charlotte's even on this card, I don't think. So So give her some time with her dad and try to figure out what's going on with him. Health-wise, of course, you know, it goes unsaid that we wish Rick a speedy recovery and his family going through a tough time here. So hopefully that nothing super serious. You know, I think we all know Rick had led a pretty crazy life, you know, whether it's just the good times or the bad times. He definitely has had a life. And, of course, with that came some hard partying and whatnot. And I'm sure that is what has contributed to a lot of his issues here. But he seems to be doing pretty good. But, Joe, good. I mean, I didn't really think about that. And so good. And maybe what they've done, maybe they did a about face. And I think Natalia's a great heel. I think she's better as a heel than she's a face. So she could definitely carry that until they kind of figure out what they want to do with Charlotte or Becky or whoever it may be. You can turn down my soundbar now. All right, so let's see. We're going to try this Facebook Live thing here. I've been kind of reading up on it all day. See if I can remember my password here. Joe, we haven't really talked about the card yet. Of course, this card started on the undershow. We saw Neville defeat Tozawa for the Cruiserweight Championship, where I kind of figured what was happening. I'm glad Tozawa got the win on Monday night because I'm a big fan of Tozawa, probably one of my favorite new wrestlers next to Johnny Gargano when the Cruiserweight Classic kind of went on. Just was really impressed with him. The next match was for the WWE SmackDown Tag Team Championships. It was the New Day versus the Usos, which had a really good rivalry since the New Day beat the Usos for the tag titles, but also since the New Day really kind of showed up on SmackDown. Some good verbal jousting between those two, some good single matches, and the Usos ended up getting the win and winning back the championship. And that's something, Joe, we didn't really see a lot on Raw with the New Day, is that they didn't necessarily get they didn't lose the titles very much, and so they didn't really have to chase a lot of times. So it's going to be interesting to see. We've always said we thought that Gallows and Anderson could have been really good for the New Day to kind of give them new life, to be able to chase someone that they haven't, gave them kind of new life in the sense of what they can do. It seems like they're going to do that with the Usos, give them a little bit of a chase with those guys. And to be quite honest, the New Day has got to the point, Joe, that they don't really need the titles.
True. Let's see here. I don't know why I'm having so much trouble tonight. Seems like the network don't want to work, which is nothing new.
All right, so let's try this here.
This hasn't happened on my Switch to my PlayStation.
Okay.
So it was playing just fine, and it just stopped.
All right, so we should be up and running for Facebook Live here. Let's see. Well, I don't see anything popping up yet. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So if, my wife's checking to see if possibly we are up and running on Facebook Live. It looks like we're live. I don't see us on screen, but I think it's because I'm not seeing anything on my phone. And can you see me? All right. Oh, okay. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can. Can you hear me? All right. Give me 1 second here. Hey. Can you see anything, baby?
Has she gone blind?
Who?
You said, can you see anything?
Nothing. Okay. So yeah, so if you can hear us, I'm trying to figure out let's see. Can you see us now?
No, but I can hear Meredith. Now, oh, I can see her.
Okay. Can you see the Google Hangout now? All right, so we are up and running on, yeah. Are you seeing Joe?
Yeah.
Okay. Joe, you're going to have to stop moving the camera around.
I know. I'm trying to get my stuff situated.
You don't have to stop doing that.
Okay, I'm going to mute you or something in 1 second. We'll hide you from the broadcast right quick. Okay. All right, so we're live on Facebook. We're live on Facebook Live. So if you're seeing us here, this is we actually do a Google Hangout, and we are discussing Monsters of Geek. This is Monsters of Geek Discusses SummerSlam 2017. So we appreciate you guys tuning in. This is our first time we have kind of figured out how to do Facebook Live. So what I'm going to do, I'm pulling it up here. If you have any questions, please write in the comment there. We can now see it, and we can have a little bit of discussion here. Joe's actually here is getting some stuff set up. My wife almost, I think, puked because Joe was running the camera up and down, and that was what was showing up there. But we are ready to go, and so yeah, we are live here on Facebook and also YouTube as well. If you're on YouTube, please send us questions here. We've got the live chat pulled up, and hopefully we can get some discussion going. Now, as far as what we are doing here, we are talking over the pay-per-view. We are not showing the pay-per-view, so don't ask. We've already had someone on YouTube Live, which we appreciate you tuning in, but we're not going to turn it around and watch the pay-per-view, unfortunately. I even put that, I think, in the in the description, that this was us doing commentary over top of it. So please feel free to kind of listen to us talk about the pay-per-view. So we've been trying to work through stuff. So if you just tuned in here on Facebook or on YouTube, Joe's been having some issues with SummerSlam, the WWE Network in general, kind of popping up for him. We'll kind of run down the card. Of course, the undercard or the kickoff show for SummerSlam, it was 2 title changes, pretty not major, I guess, the tag team titles, but the Cruiserweight title went back to Neville, which lost it on Monday night. That's the first time he has lost a belt in, I say, probably a good 6 or 7 months, maybe a little bit longer for him. He won it back tonight against Akira Tozawa, that should continue to be a good feud unless they just plan on bringing someone else in to kind of feud with him as well, which would be neat as well. But I'm a big Tozawa fan. I think Tozawa was great. I love him being in Titus Worldwide. I think they've done a really good job putting him with a mouthpiece. That is, I think Titus O'Neil is probably doing the best work of his career, and he's doing a great job with Tozawa. Hopefully, they can get Apollo Crews in there as well, and see what he can kind of do. Maybe put him in try to figure something out here. To be able to work with him as well and use Titus, and that is Titus getting him over like he did Akira, and Tozawa kind of taking it from there. Tag team titles was also lost as well. So they lost the WWE Tag Team Championships to the Usos, the SmackDown Tag Team Championships, regained the WB SmackDown Championship, Tag Team Championships against the New Day. So we got some people pulling in here, man. So we've got, of course, one of our good friends, Molly. Molly, thank you so much. I love hearing the baby as well. If you hear some coos and some oohs and some ahs, it's my wonderful daughter here, Meredith. She's in her swing and having a good time looking around. And she usually sometimes watches wrestling with me. She has become she has become a wrestling fan, or at least she likes the fast action. So I don't let her watch it for long, but every so often we'll be watching Monday night. She'll get glued in on something. And I think it's quite funny. So the first match was Baron Corbin was defeated by John Cena, which John Cena has been, or Baron Corbin has had probably the worst week in wrestling history. Of course, as you know, he is, or if you don't know, he has won. He was no, it's not me making those sounds. So yeah, sometimes actually the other day during, I don't know what I was doing, maybe the podcast or something. I actually woke her up because somebody had said something absurd as usual, as we do on the podcast, and I was reacting to it, and I accidentally woke up the baby. So I was my wife came running in and was like, shh, and that just, didn't work out very much. So, no, Molly, she's not a John Cena fan. Her favorite wrestler is AJ Styles, as we all know. So she is.
That's just because he has hair like mom.
Do what?
That's just because he has hair like her mom.
That's just yes. AJ Styles has some glorious hair, just like my wife does. So AJ's got some great hair. I wish I had AJ hair. I would rock AJ hair real well, I think. Joe, you ready to roll? Oh, Joe just popped off, so he'll pop back on. Molly, she's not all John Cena. Yeah, I'm sorry. Listen. I like John Cena. I've learned to like John Cena, but actually, I'll probably let her choose her own wrestlers and to make fun of her when she likes someone like John Cena. I'm a big fan of John Cena. John Cena has done some pretty awesome charity work and seems to be a pretty good human being just in general. I think he's as far as hardcore wrestling fans, I don't know if I consider. I guess I consider myself a hardcore wrestling fan. It took him a while to kind of grow on you, but. Opinion on Jinder Mahal, yeah. And I want to say, I don't want to mess up your name, but I got a Kukan. I think that's how you say it, if I'm not mistaken. If I mess it up, I probably just butchered it there, so don't leave. But yeah, so Jinder Mahal, I think has had. I think he's had a decent run. I think he's a little bit old school for what WWE's trying to do. He's not fancy in the ring. He's very much a big kind of brute strength type of guy, but not necessarily like a Braun Strowman or even a Brock Lesnar type of thing. I think he's worked really hard. I saw a tweet from one of the guys from, if you don't know what culture, it's a kind of a pop culture website. The wrestling stuff has really kind of took off. One of the Adams, I think his name's Adam Pachetti, I think is the name of the guy. He posted a really, really good meme where, people he said, if you're complaining about Jinder Mahal, you're also the one that's complaining about how WWE doesn't use their mid card. And I think that Jinder has done a really good job of kind of taking the ball and running with it. His feud with Randy Orton was kind of boring to a certain extent. I think there was some better stuff going on at the time, like AJ and Owens, and even some of the stuff they was doing with Zayn and Bennett, I thought was a little bit more interesting. But I think you have two, kind of prototypical WWE guys, and I think that's why it was. I guess not boring; it was solid. But I think what's really helped Jinder is that they put the Singh brothers with him. I love the Singh brothers. I think he's great. I think those two are just has really enhanced Jinder Mahal into something that seems more important. But I think he's done a decent job. I think his promo work is decent. I think for like an old school type of foreign heel, I think he's done a really good job. I think he's got a gimmick that could very well be used as both heel and face. I think they could turn that gimmick into a face gimmick as well. So I think Jinder's done really well. My only problem with the booking was that he kind of came out of nowhere. And I think that was the issue a lot of times. I think with Jinder, the issue was that unlike, I know he was like kind of equated with JBL, and everybody was like, "Oh, he's like JBL," and JBL came out. No, not really. JBL was just the Hawk Bradshaw. He was maybe a lower mid carder to a mid carder. He had a very successful run with Ron Simmons as the Acolytes and the APA. So he was a known commodity, and he had performed, and at one point you could probably see him as going into a single star again. Now, obviously, being the world champ was something that was a little bit surprising, but I think that he kind of was a little bit more established as someone that actually could win matches versus I think he even had a European title run. Maybe he had I think he had a hardcore title run. So he was very much in the picture a lot of times. But with gender, I mean, I think Dave Meltzer said he was 0 for 20 or 0 for 30 or something. I can't remember, since he had come back to WWE as basically a glorified jobber. So for him to just kind of, when he won the number one contender match, I thought, well, what are they going to do here? And I thought maybe they was just going to feed him the order, maybe set him up as more of like a U.S. title contender or something like that. But I would have felt better if they would have set him up as a U.S. title contender, maybe ran that gimmick with the U.S. title possibly, and then kind of set him up as maybe let him kind of develop that character a bit. But I thought he did a really good job in the top spot. I'm going to say really good job. I thought for someone that has not been there before, I thought he handled it really well. The modern day Maharaj, as he said, I think the gimmick itself was very good for him. I think he did a good job of kind of embracing it. So, as far as just an overall heel, I think he's done a great job with that. So I hope that that he's not forgotten. I hope he does get thrown into the U.S. picture. I always thought him and Rusev as a tag team was interesting. But that gimmick, man, overall I think has done really well. So let's see. So again, if you're on YouTube, I said it straight in the thing there. Sorry, BBO 321. I'm not going to turn the camera around, so you could just hear me talk about it and talk about some wrestling stuff while we watch. But like I said, I don't want to get in trouble with WB or YouTube as far as any copyright or anything like that. Considering that I would be in serious trouble if I did turn around the thing. So I appreciate you coming in. If you want to ask some questions, I'll be more than happy to. But yeah, nothing there. So we want to thank everybody that's joining us on Facebook Live. This is the first time that we have done this. I finally got my my setup here. Kind of messed around with a little bit today, and I know some of you guys are either working, so I'm going to try to help with some SummerSlam kind of talk of right now. Going through the card, of course, we talked about Baron Corbin again. He's had probably the worst week in WB history. He loses his Money in the Bank briefcase on SmackDown, or the match for it when he cashed it in. He gets rolled up and beat by Mahal, and then lost to John Cena here on SummerSlam as well. And my wonderful daughter Meredith has given her opinion on it. So thank you, Molly. I hope it looks good and great. So Molly said, I want to read her comment. Let's see. Talk about Dusty Rhodes, grew up with Dusty and Jake and Andre the Giant. And, of course, I think she's referring to the Attitude Era with all the stuff that they could not get. I mean, they would never be able to put that on TV today, which is good because it was pretty awkward, terrible stuff at times as far as how they portrayed their women on TV. We was just talking about someone like Sherry Martel, who was probably one of the first women wrestlers that really was tough and could really beat. I remember I listen to a podcast called which if you listen to podcast, there's some language there, so if you don't like language, don't go listen to it. But called Something to Wrestle with Bruce Pritchard. You don't know who Bruce and Conrad. Conrad's great as a host, and if you don't know who Bruce Pritchard is, he worked for WB through some different eras. Sometimes through the Golden Era, which was the Hulkamania era, and he worked through some of the Attitude Era and everything in between, the New Generation era. But he talked about Sherry Martel. And he said, there was a lot of people that was legitimately scared, men and women, of Sherry Martel. So to go from someone like Sherry Martel to go to some of your more and actually let me kind of comment on this before I move on. Enzo Amore, this is a match where he gets hung on in a Shark Tank. He is down to his underwear, which says "I love New York," and he is at the top of the cage. And this is Big Cass and Big Show. He has just lathered himself up with baby oil and is going to try to slip out of the cage. So this should be interesting. I love Enzo Amore. I think he's great, and he's going to see if he can get – now, obviously, hopefully they tested this before, and apparently they did because it is working. So he is perched on the cage, and he has slipped outside of the shark cage. The crowd is eating this up. Of course, this is something that, as far as Enzo goes, is nothing to be surprised about. But he's going to try to get out of the cage, and he's out of the cage, and he's trying to now climb down into the ring. And he's kind of hanging there, and then Big Cass just kicks him in the face. Seems to be the way that this feud is going for Enzo. We'll talk about Enzo here in a minute, but just to talk about what Molly was talking about. I grew up with Hulk Hogan, Jake Roberts as well. I got out of wrestling for a while, picked it up with the Monday Night Wars. When a lot of people did, as Big Cass just levels Big Show here, and it looks like Big Show kicks out the big boot. And, the Attitude Era was something that, I was in middle school. My mom and dad wouldn't let me watch it. I remember when they hung Stone Cold up on, not a cross, but they hung up on like the basically kind of, for lack of a better term, crucified Stone Cold on an Undertaker's symbol. My dad saw that and was like, nope, we're not watching this anymore. And to be quite honest, as a middle schooler, I should have been watching it anyway. And so I watched a lot of WCW, so I didn't get a lot of Attitude. Obviously, I know who Stone Cold was in The Rock, and now with the WWE Network, I went back and kind of watched some of the stuff I missed. There's not a ton of good wrestling as Big Cass boots Big Show again and gets the win, which I thought maybe he would. So I think, as far as overall, Molly, I was there with you. That's what made me a wrestling fan. I love Jake Roberts. I still love Jake Roberts. I think he's great, probably underrated. Ultimate Warrior was there as well. I know Jared was a big Ultimate Warrior fan. Roddy Piper, a lot of those guys, Mr. Perfect, Bobby Heenan. That's when I grew up watching it as well. But I got out a little bit, and it's just one of those things where, with that, and WB did they had to. They about went out of business during the Monday Night Wars, and so they had to do something completely different. And as much as Bruce Pritchard says on his podcast that ECW had nothing to do with it, ECW had a lot to do with it as far as overall. So when you think about stuff like that, it was such a drastic turn for them, and they kind of for a while there, did a lot of things with women that I guess for the business. For the business time, it got them ratings. There really wasn't women wrestling. There was more just, a lot of different matches that was just an excuse to get ladies in their underwear. So there was a lot of abuse for women during that time, as far as powerbomb through tables, shoves and stuff. And even during the Hogan era, there was a lot of that as well, which a lot of people, you go back and, the stuff they did with Sherry and stuff, where they picked her up and threw her out of the ring or grabbed her by the throat or stuff like that. That stuff would not fly today and really shouldn't have flew back then, but that was wrestling back then. And I think the excuse was that she was a heel and she was bad, so it was okay if a dude smacked her in the face. And nowadays, gladly, that doesn't happen now. So, Molly, I agree. I think it's much better now, as far as that goes. I think they've done a really good job overall, kind of cleaning it up. There's still some stuff here or there, but as far as women go, women wrestling is huge now, which is great, and for the right reasons, as far as their athleticism and the booking has gotten a lot better. So, but yeah, so thanks for as far as answering some question, Molly. Thank you for that. I appreciate kind of memory down, kind of a jog down memory lane. Joe is here with us. He's got all set up. And again, if you are tuning in here, it is 2017 SummerSlam. We're going to be commentating and talking some wrestling over the pay-per-view. Right now, we're at a segment with Kurt Angle and Daniel Bryan. Of course, Joe. Let's talk about Daniel Bryan a little bit. Daniel Bryan has come out and said there was an interview on the E&C podcast, I believe, which is Andrew Christian's podcast, which gets two thumbs up for me. One of the ones I subscribe to. It seems like Daniel Bryan is saying that he wants to come back and wrestle. That there was some issues, this is a great segment with Angle yelling yes and Daniel Bryan saying no. He said that there were some issues when he went to do the last of course, the story with him was that he was cleared by every doctor, but WB, he went to another doctor, which apparently the test that he was done was not certified or not. What's the health board that certifies studies and treatments? I'm looking at my wife, but she's not paying attention to me. Shauna,
Board of Medicine.
what's the that certifies like
FDA.
medical tests and FDA? Is it FDA does that? No, that's a food, right? Yeah.
CDA.
What's the CD? I don't know. Anyway, it was not approved. So the test that he ran said he had a lesion on his brain. So the funny thing is, at least according to what he says, which I don't doubt, his validity. He talked about going back to he retired on Monday, and got a call from his other doctor, and said, "Hey man, what's going on? Why did you retire?" And apparently the doctor said that he said it was a lesion, which from what he understood was a cut on his brain. He was done, and at that time he was trying to have trying to make a family with Brie Bella, which is his real life wife, and he was trying to have a child, and so he decided he wanted to retire. But the doctor said, he goes, "Yeah, some people have lesions on their brain. It's not necessarily anything bad." He said, and he kind of explained that it could be that he's just a little bit slow in some motor skills, and so Brian said, "Well, I was never a great athlete, and of course, I'm not this super type of athlete. I'm a wrestler. I don't have to necessarily be an athlete, but it helps just a little bit. But I'm not a super athlete type of guy." So he got some tests done, and apparently he seems pretty confident that he's been cleared for the ring. So there's been some talk that after his WB contract is done, which is I think I'm sorry. He has some more tests he has to run. And so he's 50 tests in. No, I'm sorry, 25 tests in. He has to run 80 tests in order to get cleared, and he still has, I think, a couple years left on his contract, I think. So there has been some rumblings that, if WB does not release him to get in the ring, that he is going to wrestle again. Which, Joe, I don't know about you. I mean, if he's cleared to wrestle, then great, awesome, go for it. But I don't know if I don't know if I want to see him in the ring again, considering how many injuries he's had. They actually tested him for concussions. They said that there would be nothing. There's nothing extraordinary there. He's just like someone that had maybe like an athletic career or something like that so far. So, Joe, what do you think about Daniel Bryan possibly getting back into the ring, the safety that maybe he's putting himself into? His wife is 100% behind him if that's what he wants to do, but especially if you go into the indie stuff where you don't have the great medical stuff that WB has, how do you feel about possibly Daniel Bryan returning either through WB or the indies?
I mean, as long as he's cleared, I don't see an issue with it.
Would you like to see him in the indies, or would you like to see him back in WB? I mean, what's your thoughts on that?
I'd rather have him in WWE if he's going to wrestle, but I mean, I'd take it either way as long as he's cleared.
So it looks like the match here, Randy Orton and Rusev is up, and Randy Orton just beat Rusev. Rusev jumped in from behind. The bell rung. He beat Orton for about 30, 40 seconds, and then Orton just hit the RKO. This is what I thought would possibly happen.
I'll be right back.
Okay. This is what I thought would possibly happen. This is a big card. If you look at the card up and down, there's going to be some time limitations here as far as just overall what they have. Funny enough, Bruce Pritchard was talking about the WrestleMania 7 card. It actually had an intermission, which I think wasn't completely crazy for WrestleMania. But there was about 13 or 14 matches on that card. There was 13 televised and one dark match, which was Coco Beware and the Brooklyn Brawler. And if you are on the stream here, both on YouTube and on Facebook, please post questions. Feel free to comment, discuss some stuff. That's why we're here on Facebook Live, to be able to discuss some stuff. So Randy Orton victorious over Rusev. But this is a really big card. And SummerSlam and WrestleMania has got to the point. I mean, this is 3-4 hour shows now if you count the kickoff. This was actually the kickoff started at 5 today, so this is actually a 5-hour show. As far as just it's 2 hours just to get to the main card. So I was afraid that some of these matches would be kind of short, and I hope that a match like Wyatt and Balor gets the time he needs. But Rusev, hopefully they kind of continue this where Rusev maybe can get a win here since coming back on SmackDown. I'm a big fan of Rusev. I don't like the gimmick, but he's kind of stuck with it at this point. So I kind of figured there would have to be some quick matches here or there. If you're just now joining us, we had 2 title changes. The the Cruiserweight Championship changed hands as Tozawa dropped it to Neville in the pre-show. And then also we had the SmackDown Tag Team Championships change hands as the Usos regained those Tag Team Championships in what was a really good Tag Team title match for the SmackDown Tag titles against the New Day. Again, if you feel free, please pop in here and ask some questions here. Talking about, let's see. Yeah, if you want to follow us on YouTube, actually, YouTube, we are just Monsters of Geek blog on YouTube. As far as what you're looking at here, this is also, as you see, this is Google Hangouts, so we're not necessarily. We figured out some ways to be able to stream this on Facebook Live. It was something I really wanted to do, and spent the first couple of matches of the pay-per-view trying to figure out how to get this worked up, and we finally got it worked up and ready to go. So we're super stoked about that. So Joe should be on here in a few minutes. He's having some issues logging into his WBE account. So hopefully that he can get that set up and get him on there as well. So we want to thank you guys for tuning in. Please feel free to get some questions going here. One thing that we talked about was Enzo. So there's a question that was brought forward by Enzo about Enzo, and me and my wife are both big Enzo fans. I think that he has done. He's entertaining. He's probably one of the more entertaining wrestlers to come up from NXT in quite some time. He can talk. He can work decently. I'm not saying he's the best worker in the world, but he does have a good personality, and he can. He's definitely not a bad wrestler, as they say, a good hand in the ring. So I think that he has a big time potential if they use him. Now, the rumors with Enzo is that Enzo is not well liked backstage. That what you see on the screen is the Enzo you actually see in real life. And actually, I think Bailey just got booed again, which is just amazing to me that she's getting booed. Anyway, and we'll probably talk about that here in a minute anyway. But Enzo has been pretty much jobbed out to Big Cass. We kind of knew there were some rumors and some rumblings that Vince was a big fan of Big Cass. Obviously a great look as far as what Vince looks for. Vince, as much as Triple H has tried to bring in some really talented wrestlers, Vince is still wants that big kind of guy. He kind of got lucky with Braun Strowman because Braun really shouldn't be as good as he is, as big as he is, but he has come along great. And probably maybe the feud of the year has been him and Reigns, who's put on some great matches. But Enzo's not well liked, and I think that's going to hurt Joe as far as Joe's back with us here. I think it's going to hurt him trying to figure out what they're going to do with him without Cass. And I think Corey Graves brought up a great idea, Joe, is that they should move him to 205 Live, which is really, really struggling right now with some stuff, and just trying to get traction on the network. I think that would be great to have him on 205 Live.
Yeah, I could see him on there. I've also read where they may turn him heel with Big Cass.
Do what now?
Said I've also read where they may turn him heel with Big Cass.
Yeah, I don't know if you can put them back together. I think that's the thing. I mean, if you're going to do it, you got to do it right. And I think you have to have an idea of where you want Enzo and Big Cass to go. I don't think that they're going to put him back with Big Cass. I think that would be counterproductive on what they wanted to do for Cass's future. Now, at this point, they can always – I mean, they are a pretty beloved tag team. They never had a tag team title run. So at some point, we'll probably see Big Cass and Enzo come back together. But I think it'd be dumb to all of a sudden turn Enzo heel. Especially as over as he is with the crowd. But, WB is, as much as we want to say it's changed, and it has changed a lot as far as, what they do and the talent they bring in. There's still, if you rub people the wrong way, there's a story that he got kicked off the bus. He got kicked out of the locker room because he was, kind of doing dumb stuff. And if you can imagine, a character like Enzo actually being Enzo in real life, that guy's probably going to wear on you pretty quickly. As far as, and his character is loud and brash and kind of braggart. Apparently he's like that in real life. So he's turned a lot of people the wrong way, rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. So it's going to be interesting what they do. I think he can really go to 205 Live and just really kind of bring that show up as far as talent and just – nothing gets to a 5. There's some great guys on there. Tozawa, Neville's been great the past year. You look at guys like Brian Kendrick's been really good. there's been some good wrestlers on there, but they don't have a ton of personality yet, or that one guy. And Joe, I think Enzo could probably be that guy.
Yeah. I mean, the only issue with 205 is they don't have enough belts. I think they should have one more belt or at least a tag team belt.
Well, the thing with 205 Live is they don't have they only got an hour, and we see on Raw and SmackDown that they kind of struggle with 3 hours trying to get the majority of the roster shown. They also struggle with an hour trying to get the roster shown. So it is kind of I think it's tough to try to bring more talent in and try to figure out, kind of what to do with them on an hour show. So I've always said they should just let them wrestle, have some little vignettes here or there, or some short backstage stuff, and then kind of go from there. But I think Vince is very heavily involved in that show. I'm not really for sure why, as far as what I've understood. So if you watch 205, I haven't watched it in a couple weeks. I watch it when they have the main events. That I'm kind of interested in, but they have some talent. It's just a matter of trying to get that talent noticed. I think if you put Enzo over there, you'll get a lot more eyes.
You mentioned Sasha versus Bayley at NXT Takeover here in Brooklyn a couple of years ago. Sasha actually in an interview this week talked about how she needs to get back up.
All right, so on my backup plan.
Charlotte in the championship match. So can Sasha Banks do it here tonight?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear. Sorry, I was mute. I was asking Sean something. So Joe's has some issues, but he's up and running now. So I'm guessing you're running it from your PC.
No, my PC.
No,
it was. I don't know. The website wouldn't load, and then my PlayStation 4 won't turn on. So I'm playing it on my PlayStation 3.
Gotcha. There you go. That's why I keep the PlayStation 3 around. So we're here. So as you saw, Randy Orton defeated. Just kind of go down the card. I was going down the card and kind of got sidetracked. Baron Corbin got defeated by John Cena, which again we've reiterated probably the worst week in wrestling history for anyone. As Corbin, apparently the rumors have said that he has. Apparently there is some faith loss there within him, and that's why they took the Money in the Bank away from him, which kind of stinks because Money in the Bank is awesome. You think about who else could have won that, and you're thinking, Sami Zayn could have won it or someone like that, and now nobody has it. And Corbin, who knows what they're going to do with Corbin at this point. But he lost to John Cena in a kind of a shocker is that Naomi was defeated by Natalya to drop the SmackDown Women's Championship. I brought up that they was really looking to do, from what I understand, trying to set up her and Charlotte for that, and it did not happen. And Joe, of course, brought up the point that, of course, Ric Flair is in the hospital. He is doing better, but that gives Charlotte some time to kind of attend to her dad's, figuring out what's going on. And Natalya can definitely be a heel, and when Charlotte comes back, maybe she wins it right away, or they do a little bit of a program. But we've seen Natalya be the face, and then Charlotte be the heel in that situation. So maybe we'll see it the opposite way. And then just a few minutes ago, Rusev was defeated. Big Cass defeated Big Show as Enzo was put up in a shark tank above the ring. He lathered himself up in oil and slipped out of there, but he still just got kicked in the face like he tends to be his. That's how they're booking him with the Big Cass angle. The other thing that happened was that Rusev attacked Randy Orton before the match, and their matchup beat him up a little bit, and then all of a sudden got RKO'd, and it was over. So a little bit of a shorter match, and now we're on the Raw Women's Tag Team Championship match. Women's Championship match. Alexa Bliss and Sasha Banks. Of course, Bayley was supposed to be in the spot and hurt her shoulder in real life. So let's talk about Bayley for a second. We are big fans of Bayley. I think Bayley's great. Obviously in NXT, she did just a great job. Had some phenomenal matches with people, and really was the first one to really kind of push up Nia Jax. Had a tremendous match in London with her, which was great. Joe, talk about. She's kind of lost momentum, and I'm not really for sure. Her booking's been a little bit weird. They booked her as almost like a childlike figure, which is not how she was booked in NXT. She was booked more like John Cena, basically like a female version of John Cena that could, for lack of a better term, especially at the first career. Her career is a much better worker than what Cena was at that point, at least, as far as just overall. But she got up here. She won the title. She lost the title to Bliss in a very weird fashion. That feud was very one-sided. And then she got booed the other night, and she got booed here. So it's very odd that, how fast it kind of has turned. What do you think they hope to get her back on track?
They need to book her right.
At all?
They need to start booking her right. She's not.
Yeah,
she's not been booked correctly.
I think that one of the ideas for this, and I'm glad they didn't do it because I think it's stupid and beneath her, was that they was going to like the first kiss angle with her, which would have been terrible. And I think Corey Graves was going to be involved. And there's some different things that was going to be involved, but that would have been terrible. And I'm glad they didn't do it. So, but yeah, I agree. They need to figure something out. I think they just need to book her like they did in NXT. I think the thing that I have, as far as an issue that I have with that, is that with NXT, it kind of gives you a template on how to book somebody. And Bayley was very successful in NXT. NXT has become super popular as a brand. And I still find it kind of baffling that they try to change their characters when they get up. Because Sasha Banks is basically Sasha Banks when she was in NXT. Charlotte's Charlotte from NXT. So I'm not really for sure who came up with the bright idea to turn Bayley into something else or tweak her to a point that it's not Bayley anymore.
So I think it's almost like what they've done with Roman Reigns. I think the booking has been so bad here lately. Except with Roman Reigns, you had him beat everybody. And with Bayley, in my opinion, they've made her into somebody who can't win.
Yeah, it's just you
Fix your
microphone
microphone.
with the. Oh, sorry. You kind of started seeing it with the Alexa Bliss kind of matchup that they had a lot of matches where Bliss beat her in her hometown. Then they had like a return match, a kendo stick match at Extreme Rules, and basically, Bayley was beat. I don't think there's any other word to. She was basically buried in that match almost.
Mm-hmm.
And then she kind of lost her way. She got a title shot here, which I was surprised that they gave to her. Then she gets hurt. So there's some time to kind of, and maybe it'd be good to have her off TV for a little while. I've always said that John Cena was more interesting when they would take him away and then bring him back 6 months later.
I think that they need to take her off TV for a little while, and then maybe bring her in. Try and keep it a secret. I know you can't really keep anything secret now because of the internet. But I think if you keep her out, keep her out for about a month, maybe 2 months.
Right.
Let the women's division just continue to grow, and then bring her back and you can actually book her as someone like you said, as a John Cena or even like a Sting. We always said she was almost like a Sting because she was pure babyface.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things there as well. We've talked about the next John Cena type of thing, but she's actually done some pretty good stuff as she's a very colorful Sting type character. Mm-hmm. And that when you both said it, that she was more like a Sting type of character than she was a John Cena type of character. But I just was very shocked because when she came up, people were stoked because of how good she was in NXT. And I'm not saying she's been bad. In the ring, she's been great. But as far as, what she's done, as far as what they've done with her booking-wise, it just hasn't helped her out a lot.
Booking, I think that's what's wrong with her. I think she's getting booed is because of the booking. It's just bad. Bad booking.
Now, right. So Sasha Banks obviously has been great. She's been great in the ring. So is Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss has been surprising. I don't remember seeing her in NXT a lot. When she was brought up, I was kind of surprised, just like she was just like when Apollo Crews was brought up type of thing. But she has really, apparently has really impressed a lot of people backstage. Of course, she's been women's champion for a while now. She did the thing with Nia Jax for a little bit, with her being kind of like a Shawn Michaels type of Diesel relationship with her. And then she, beat Bayley for the belt. So she's actually pretty good. And I don't know if they wasn't expecting her to be that good. She won the SmackDown Women's Championship and has just been spectacular. Her kind of Harley Quinn type of, I guess, character, she has been just great. Joe, give me your thoughts on Alexa Bliss a little bit.
I think I was surprised because, like you said, we really didn't see her much in NXT. And then she comes in and she rules SmackDown for quite a while until the I guess the next draft, and she got drafted to Raw, and she's just continued that momentum. And I think she's probably one. I mean, this group of female wrestlers that we have today is by far the best we've had in WWE. There's always been really good indie female wrestlers who, like you, I think you were talking about it when I first joined in the 80s and even the 90s. Were kind of smushed by WWE when they brought them in. And then the 2000s was just a horrible time for it. But I think this is a good group of females, and I think Alexa Bliss. I'm glad that Alexa Bliss is forefront.
I want to step away. Joe's going to take over the show here for a second. I've got to take care of something. I'll be right back.
Close pinfall attempt for Sasha Banks.
Exactly what I'm talking about. Oh, wow. And Alexa, looking for the DDT that's brought her so many victories. Stab her, looking for the backstab. That's it. Sasha Banks trying to lock in her submission move. Alexa got still got movement. She still got movement. If she can just keep moving. Once again, with a diminutive stature, the champion could be her downfall. Yeah, but Alexa able to make it the final rope, forcing the break. Now the champion trying to get out of the ring and get out of harm's way.
Alexa Bliss just slid into the rope. Breaking the big statement.
Oh, and Bliss yanking the apron covering there, the ring skirt, and Sasha Banks tumbled off. Sasha crashed down hard on her shoulder. The God is looking a bit worse for wear after this battle, but had enough wear with the watch. Bliss pulled the ring skirt, the rope underneath, obviously tripping Sasha Banks, sending her crashing to the floor. Yeah, perfect timing play by the champion as well. As soon as Sasha stepped on the ring skirt, that was all she wrote. Now Alexa looks to take control. She really wants to pin Sasha here tonight in the middle of the ring and continue to humiliate the boss as she dumps holes after it. And Sasha may have hurt her shoulder. I think that's what Corey's talking about. It's more the craftiness. It's the one like Alexa Bliss goes. Great. And a big deja vu there. That was almost the same way that Bayley injured her shoulder, Corey, a few weeks ago. Very, very similar situation. The boss landing hard apparently on her left shoulder. Now the official begins to count. Alexa will take a count-out victory tonight to retain her championship. The official was confident that the referee's count will complete itself. And Banks, do you think she just makes it back to the ring before 10?
Sasha coming back in before counting to 10.
Wisely targeting the injured shoulder. The left arm of Sasha Banks. Not only that, Cole wasted no time going right back to that injury. Looks like a predator that smells blood. Oh my Lord! It wasn't dislocated before, maybe now. A little insulting kick to the side of the boss. There we go, insult to injury. Bliss literally stepping over her challenger, ascending the top rope. Could this be it for the boss? There it is. This is it. It's over. Put it away. Sasha just able to kick out. Little quick to Bliss and Sasha able to kick out for him. Look at disbelief. Now the tantrum being thrown by the champion tells the story. Alexa Bliss, along with myself, thought this was the end for sure, but the boss had other plans. Alexa can't believe it. I really thought it was a slow count, but Sasha Banks able to stay alive in this championship match at SummerSlam. Great counter by Banks. Over to the backstage. Alexa Bliss, the champ, center of the ring, nowhere to go. Nowhere to go. Just doing her best to prevent Banks.
That's not good.
Not locked down. Goes the back shoulder. And here's the cover again by Bliss on Banks. And Sasha Banks again looking to the backstage and closer to the rope this time. But with a bad shoulder, Banks is unable to complete the submission. Alexa Bliss looking to somehow break this hold.
Whoa. Well, didn't expect that.
Oh, yeah, Sasha won. Great. Awesome. I kind of expected that would happen. I think that they were going to try to set up a pretty – Sasha, I think of all the ones that could beat her, I don't know if that was the plan for her to lose it, to Bailey. But I kind of figured that maybe Sasha would get the win here.
Now, hopefully it sets up a run for Sasha and Bailey.
Looking back, this might have been the undoing of Bliss in her title reign. Holding on for dear life with everything she had until Alexa Bliss simply couldn't fight any longer. The boss sitting. She became matter of demons tonight here in this Barclays Center. Sasha Banks is your new Raw Women's Champion. It's boss time on Monday nights.
Messed it up.
What?
The video.
What you do?
Trying to. I can't get my screen back. Okay, a video back too? Okay.
Hey, this is a big audition. Hey, some of us lost weight for this, and the line starts back here.
There we go.
You need a bro that can get everyone hyped about KFC. Colonel Sanders, KFC.
And why exactly did the Colonel need to be a bro? I think it's time for some new Colonel updates. Maybe some new glasses, some red hair. Wait a minute! Red hair? I've got red hair. And I'm the only real Southern kid. I mean, come on, I got clear.
What are you? Yeah.
Oh, great. You here for the audition too?
It's Joe. Joe, go ahead and talk, man. I think I messed up our OBS here.
What?
I think I messed up our OBS here. Give me 1 second. No, it's still going. Let's see. There we go. Okay, can you see us? Okay, so we're back on because it's not. Is that may be frozen? Okay. All right, we're back. Sorry about that. So it seems like we messed up some stuff here, and let's go back here and hook this back up here. Okay. Okay, so I believe we're back up here. Let me see if I can get it pulled back up here so we can answer some more questions here. Possibly. There we go. Okay, so we're back here. Sasha Banks just defeated Alexa Bliss for the Raw win. A lot of title changes tonight, Joe. Seems like that's our third title change tonight. Two more. I think that we'll see the tag team championship match. The reunited Rollins and Ambrose, and then also maybe see at the very least Nakamura win the belt. I'd be very surprised if we had this many title changes and four-way match ended up in a title change as well. What do you think?
It is a title change. I think.
I think that. I think you're right. I think they need to get the belt off Brock. I think this experiment, which has been somewhat successful, I would think. I think it's about time you start. They have too much talent now to just have a guy that kind of runs off with the title.
Yeah, and plus, we all know that he's gonna go pat Johnny Jones.
Sure.
So I think it's time to get him off, and maybe put it on Joe.
Well, I thought, me and you talked about this before. We felt like maybe Joe should have possibly won the belt from Lesnar before. As far as that goes, I think that overall, I think that Lesnar, Lesnar's been. People will argue whether it's good to have somebody that's not necessarily on TV the title. I think it's allowed people to get more attention without necessarily having to go for the belt, which is always a good thing. You look at someone like Bray Wyatt, who's got more attention because Bray hasn't been on TV, so it gets more people, more segments to be able to show what they have. Some people argue that the title diminishes the title. I don't know. It almost makes it even more special for me when Brock shows up to defend it. I do think it's weird to not have it defend on every pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And that's more maybe like a traditional type of thing for me, but it is a little bit weird, Deborah, when it is time for him to defend it. I think it does give it more of a big fight feel. That Samoa Joe Lesnar, I thought they booked really well and made it a big fight type of feel.
Hold on.
So our next matchup is Finn Balor and Bray Wyatt. This has been an interesting feud. I've actually really kind of liked it. They actually wrestled on Raw, and Balor ended up actually picking up the victory. Bray Wyatt did, and then at the end of the match, they did the whole fake blood thing, which definitely brings something we haven't seen on WB for quite some time at this point, but was actually done really well. I was wondering why they decided to be able to do that match on Raw. I think it picks up. We kind of figured we see the Demon King from Finn Balor at some point, and I think the blood just kind of emphasized it, kind of bringing that character out for Finn Balor. So it's going to be interesting to watch this match because I do think Finn gets the win after losing on Monday night. I think it's very important for WWE to establish that character as something special, that Finn only breaks out for special matches like SummerSlam or WrestleMania or Survivor Series or something like that. And if you're posting questions, I can't see it on my app anymore, so I apologize if I'm not answering any questions at this point. So my wonderful wife, who is going to act as producer today, is going to feed me some questions. If you have any questions, please feel free to discuss this pay-per-view, discuss older pay-per-views, whatever you want to do. We're here to talk wrestling, and me and Joe both love wrestling, and something that we're both very passionate about, even though some people may think it's silly type of thing, but we have grown up watching wrestling. We love it. We love analyzing it, the backstage stuff, the athletes that we see on our screen. So please feel free, both on YouTube and on Facebook, to post some stuff, and we'll be more than happy to help here or answer your question. So,
all right. Sorry, having technical difficulties.
It's been one of those nights with technical difficulties. So, as far as that, so
I had to plug in a. Come on.
So if you're on Facebook, actually, I just got a warning that said that video has been stopped because it may contain audio or visual content that belongs to WBE. So I guess it maybe picked up the commentating, maybe. So we're going to turn this down. So any promos or anything that comes through, I'm not going to hear it. Joe, go ahead and turn yours down as well. And that may be why. Maybe why I'm not seeing it on my phone now. Shauna says it is up on Facebook. So, like I said, for some reason or another, I can't see it. to be able to do that. So hopefully.
No, it's going back and playing the old stuff.
Okay.
No, it's ended.
It's ended? Okay. Let's see if I can just pop this down here. Luckily, I know how to get it back here.
Well, that was pretty fast for them to do that.
Do what? Oh yeah, no, that's what I
Blockers.
was really kind of surprised they did it. So it's not going to take me a second to get it pulled back up, so it's not the end of the world or anything. In live video.
Wait on the internet to start back up here.
Okay, so let's go back. Let's go live.
Of course, it would happen on a match I want to see.
I know.
Thanks, Comcast.
Pop this over OBS. Go to settings.
It's only 7:41. Where's my thing up? Can't be 7:41. Okay, my PlayStation's off. Oh yeah, I forgot. I have to wait until the internet comes back on. I hate that for some reason the PlayStation 4 controller cannot take it back to the menu for the PlayStation 3. Hold on.
Its interest is so cool. So let's go live. So we got some questions on YouTube here. Let's see. So one of them is from Christian M. Do you think Conor McGregor will go to WWE in the future? Has good microphone, good promos, is a good fighter, good channel. Oh, thanks. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. Yeah, so I think that Conor McGregor could very well be a wrestler masquerading as a MMA star. As far as his promo work, they've always said in wrestling, if you ask any great booker or wrestler, you have to be yourself, and I think Conor McGregor is very much himself as far as who he is as a person. You saw with Stone Cold Steve Austin. You see it with Enzo to a certain extent. Now, obviously, Enzo rubs some people the wrong way, but he's very much that's him on the screen. Anytime that you are a person that has a lot of character, that has a lot of things kind of going with for them. And I think that they do, they've done a really good job as far as McGregor kind of being himself and getting, for lack of a better term, getting himself over, I guess you could say. So I think he's great as far as just now, obviously, he says some things that I don't necessarily agree with a lot of times. But I think that if he ever did want to position out of the MMA game, I think he's very much, he could very much be a very big superstar for WB. He's obviously small, like he's smaller than even some of the cruiserweights that's on 205 Live. But I do think that he has a future if he ever wanted, and I'm sure WB would welcome him with open arms to be able to get that kind of mainstream media attention that Vince likes, and obviously any big entertainment company likes. So, yeah, I think, Joe, I don't know about you, but I think he could have a very big future in wrestling.
Who?
Conor McGregor. I'm sorry. I don't know if you heard the question.
No, I haven't heard the question. No.
Yeah, we had a question from Christian M. Do you think Conor McGregor will go to WB in the future? Has a good microphone, good promos, is a good fighter, good channel. He said that we had a good channel, which we really appreciate. So what do you think about that? Do you think that, he could be a viable star for WB if he ever wanted to go that way?
Yeah, I mean, I've said it all along, is he's a Ric Flair of the UFC. With the way that he can talk, the way he really cuts a promo almost every time he speaks.
Right.
He's almost like Chael Sonnen to a point. Sonnen always played the heel when it came to the UFC, and I think McGregor, him and Sonnen both are very almost character-like in their personalities.
Yeah, and the difference is McGregor can actually fight.
Which
he can actually back it up.
I wouldn't say that to Sonnen.
Yeah, well, Sonnen had a couple good bouts with Silva, and that was just about it. And then I don't know, he just decided that he just didn't want to fight anymore. So if you are live here, sorry about the gap there. It looks like that we one of our microphones has picked up some sound from the pay-per-view, and my Facebook did not like that. So much like when YouTube has like a little copyright warning, we were taken off the air because I guess they could hear Michael Cole's annoying voice. I don't know what the deal is there, but so they took us down. So if you're back up, sorry about that. Please feel free to post. If you post any questions, we are back. Please feel free to do that. So we're at Finn Balor, we're at Bray Wyatt, and just a warning: if you put any curse words or anything on the live stream, I will take it down. So sorry, fake Finn Balor. Your comment was stupid, and so had some language in it. So I wanted to take it down. So there you go.
Well, thank you, fake
Finn
Balor.
Yeah, thank you, fake Finn Balor. Call you out for that. So yeah, Bray Wyatt and Finn Balor, of course, we talked about last Monday night, had a really good match for what it was on Raw. I mean, it was a Raw match, but it was a good one. And saw that Bray Wyatt continued to play the mind games. He actually got the win over Finn Balor, and then oh man, Finn took a bump there, didn't he? And then poured the fake blood on there, Vampiro style, 2001 WCW, and then Balor said, yes, I'm coming to SummerSlam, and it's not going to be Finn Balor, but it's going to be the Demon King. And definitely something we expected. Actually, I wasn't as bad as a bump as it looked in full motion. Just something we expect. We even talked about it, and I'm guessing Finn would probably, because they really do need to protect this character. And I think that's what they're going to do next coup de grace, but Bray Wyatt rolls out of the ring. But I think, somebody said that they really need to protect this character. This could be their next Undertaker character if they treat it really, really with kind of kid gloves and make sure that, nice move. As Bray Wyatt takes control with a suplex from the middle rope. Finn Balor's feet was on the middle rope, and he suplexed him outside, so it was pretty neat. Could be definitely something that could be kind of their
Special.
Undertaker type of character. Yeah, very special, right?
Yeah, I agree. And by the way, you're behind.
Oh, well, I'm always behind, so it's just going to have to stay that way.
I know.
We've had a lot of technical difficulties. So Joe's probably ahead of me like he usually is. So we're Bray Wyatt and Finn Balor. If you have any questions, please post them here. Wrestling questions, sports questions, geek culture questions, whatever.
If you need help
I will
with love or life, I mean, I'll be.
Those questions, especially
I
John.
can answer those questions.
No, we're not. We're not Dr. Drew and.
Speak for yourself.
Very dated reference to a show that used to come on MTV that probably no one should have watched.
Everybody knows Dr. Drew these days.
Yeah, they didn't know the show. What was the name of the show? Loveline, right, on MTV?
Yeah,
it was him and Adam
Corella.
Corella. Yeah, there you go. Corolla. I'm sorry.
And everybody knows Dr. Drew now because of the whole Kesha thing.
That's true. What's the thing with the Kesha thing?
I thought he was like her psychiatrist or something like that. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know.
Did he have another show, Dr. Drew, on MTV too?
Yeah, it wasn't on MTV. It was on VH1. It was what was the name of that?
Something with celebrity.
Celebrity Rehab?
Celebrity Deathmatch.
No, it was no. Celebrity Rehab. Yeah, that's it. Shauna just informed me. So yeah, if you just logged on, please feel free to leave some questions here. That's what we're doing. This is our first time up on Facebook Live. If you joined us before and it abruptly cut out, is because apparently Facebook caught some vocal from the match and it cut it off. So we'll kind of keep it might have been me. I had my soundboard turned up too. So if we see any promos or anything, we're probably not going to play them because I don't want it to. So we have no clue what would be happening as far as who was saying what. But it's been a good match with Finn Balor and Bray Wyatt. I think this is a really cool feud, especially considering that these are two of the Joe. I guess in wrestling where we got so many people just being them, there's not many gimmicks like this anymore. And both Bray Wyatt and Finn Balor has a gimmick that would work. Definitely you would see maybe in the 90s and 2000s, but not necessarily now. And they made them work.
Yeah.
And Joe, I think we both expect Balor to go over here. I don't think there's any reason not for him not to go over at this point.
It's just another reason why that they
nice.
They need to take the belt off Lesnar. Because I've enjoyed this feud with Bray Wyatt. I have.
Mm-hmm.
But the only way I don't think like someone like Finn can realistically beat Brock Lesnar. I know it's a booked show, but it just wouldn't go over right unless like the club came out and helped him. Like that's the only way that I could see it happening. But I feel like if you put on someone like Joe or even a Reigns, maybe a Strowman, that you could see him, but not Lesnar.
Well, he already beat Reigns, so.
Oh, I know that, but I'm just saying.
I think it's interesting. I think that, I don't necessarily totally agree with that. I think that they could book, and we've talked about it. There was a time when they was really teasing Balor and Lesnar. I mean, Heyman teased it a lot during that number one contender match that they had, and I thought that Balor was on. When we discussed maybe that would be a good foray for the Bullet Club or the club to kind of come together, or the Balor Club or whatever you want to call it, and them come in with basically Anderson and Gallows come in just like he said, interfere and have him win the title, and then kind of do that kind of type of a setup. It reminds me a lot of kind of like what they did with Eddie and Brock. You could definitely, have a great match with Brock Lesnar just when it's about time somebody runs in and interferes, whether it be the club or someone, like Strowman or someone, someone that has a rivalry with Brock to come in and do that. And I think it would work, but I've said before, I think there's pros and cons to Lesnar having the belt. I think one of the pros is that a lot of these times, like I said before, they get more TV time.
Yeah,
they just do. I mean, you got to have, when you don't have the champ there, beforehand, the champ had 3-4 segments before they even got to the match that night that person was in or was involved in. So So I do think it's helped guys like Balor and guy in the women's division, and guys like us, especially someone like Strowman, and some of these guys that Samoa Joe, for example, to get more camera time. And I think so. That's a pro of this. A con is you don't have your champ around, which it's according to how you view the belt. I view the belt still in a traditional, hey, that's your champ. He should probably be on your shows. He should be defending it every 30 days or whatever. Nice move there. So I do feel like that's the kind of the case, but as far as sorry, my wife was moving the thing and the cord got stuck. But I think that's a pro. And, in the con you don't get the title defense, but you do get a lot of matches like 4-way number one contender matches, and they make the number one contendership mean more than what it would. Just to have another world title match. So I think it's actually enhanced a lot of the talents and given them time to really kind of evolve on TV.
I like that they made Bray Wyatt back off to the Demon King.
To back off what now?
Oh, you haven't seen that yet.
Uh-uh.
You'll see what I'm talking about. You can't hear my commentary or anything, can you?
I can hear it slightly, but it's not. I mean, we're still on the air, so.
No, I can turn it down. I'm just trying to listen a little bit.
Oh, coup de grace.
But did you see when Bray done his little demon walk thing? He backed down and he got back up. I thought that was cool. I wonder how long it takes him to do that makeup.
Oh man, I bet it takes him a couple hours at most. I say probably 4 hours. I mean, that's something you'd see in a movie type of thing.
Yeah.
Detail, and that's even more detailed than what he usually has it.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree that Finn Balor, if they continue to book him like he needs to be booked, and to be quite honest, I haven't been disappointed at all as far as the booking of him. I think I think they booked him quite well. Now they hot shot him to the top with the Universal title, but he deserved it. I think that then he got hurt, so they had to kind of change course. But I mean, he's a monster star, just like AJ is, just like Johnny Gargano is. I think all those guys, because of they also have the ability to. They all have personality, and if Finn maybe not had the best mic skills, but he has personality, and it shows well. I mean, it makes you want to root for him. And I think all those guys have that quality, and they're very much cut out of the same mold. So,
now, let me ask you this: rumor has it, that Adam Cole's supposed to come tonight.
Have you not? Okay, I'm not going to comment on that. And hopefully, I guess you've not watched NXT yet, have you?
I have not. So he went to NXT.
Yeah, do you want to be spoiled or do you want to watch it? I got spoiled this morning on Twitter because I forgot I follow every wrestling news playing on thing. Do what now?
I'll watch it.
Okay. So let me tell you what happened, or
I mean, if you want to.
Okay, well, that's just fine. I mean, obviously we're talking about, so he shows up at this point, but yeah, he so basically what happened last night, it was really cool. I actually got spoiled last night as far as what happened, but so I didn't think he was going to show up. And this morning I kind of popped up and WWE had posted a video of him, showed up. And so basically what happened was I'm not going to tell you what happened if you want to watch the next time, I'm going to ruin the rest of it. But at the end of the show, he comes in, attacks the champ. Well, first of all, it's Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly. And they had already come out. I won't tell you who won, but they had come out and attacked the winner of that match. So Red Dragon has been pretty much shown to be in which if you don't know who Red Dragon is, like I said at the top of the podcast, Red Dragon is former ROH tag team champions. They're former New Japan Junior tag team champions. So very good workers. I mean, they're very good guys. One of my favorite teams that I've saw in the last couple of years. Bobby, I believe Kyle O'Reilly was the ROH World Champion at some point last year. So just some really good workers. So they were already there, made their presence known. At the end of the night, they jump out and they attack the winner of the NXT Championship match. And then the crowd kind of starts looking, and you kind of see a pop, and you're like, okay. And Adam Cole jumps out of the crowd, jumps into the ring, beats up on the champ. Place is going absolutely bonkers, as you can imagine. If you don't know who Adam Cole is, former member of the Bullet Club, three-time ROH champ, first three-time ROH champion, just was an ROH TV champion, was getting big in Japan. Basically the biggest indie free agent on the market. He left ROH. His contract was up. The Bullet Club kicked him out. Marty Scurll is now in the Bullet Club to replace him. He did some indie bookings. There had been really some major rumblings that he was going to be at NXT. And if you've ever watched an NXT pay-per-view, then a lot of times they'll just show up in the crowd, or they'll just be sitting there or something like that. So it was very different from what they've done tonight. So he jumps out, obviously in alliance. Him and I want to say Kyle O'Reilly maybe broke into ROH as a tag team. So they add Bobby Fish. So they're going to be a group. There have been rumors that they were going to put like an ROH type of faction together. And obviously this is it. He didn't do the Adam Cole baby in the ring. He actually it was actually an exclusive on WWE.com. That's the one that ruined it for me. And he got to the top of the. Oh, he got to the top of the stage and basically was like, Adam Cole, baby, and the crowd just repeated it and just went nuts. So that's something that, we kind of expected him to be there. WB's been interested since he signed his new deal with ROH. And then I think it was like 18 months ago. So they've been looking at him pretty heavily. Adam Cole's great. He's a great worker. He has a great character. I'm glad they let him be Adam Cole because one of his big things is he'll point to this guy and go, Adam Cole, baby, and the crowd just eats it up. So it's one of those things, Joe, people were expecting, but they did it in such a cool way with him coming through the crowd instead of just being kind of shown there, sitting there, which I thought was a good – for him, I thought it was really good.
Yeah. No, I mean, if we expected it, I mean, I guess we knew that he signed with them, or there was rumors that he signed with them because he got kicked out of the club. But it was like, I don't know, like it wasn't like, I guess I'm not sure with Rick if we knew Rick had signed when they showed him in the crowd that time.
Who?
Rick. Or not Rick, Bobby. Sorry.
Okay, I got you. I was like, Rick?
Yeah,
Who's Rick?
Bobby.
I didn't know Rick signed either.
Yeah, I know, right? I didn't know. I know that Bobby Roode hadn't signed with him. So when they showed him in the crowd, I knew that he had left TNA, but I didn't know what he was doing. When they showed him in the crowd at ROH, which was like a week after that. I was kind of surprised, which was cool. But I think we all speculated that Adam Cole was coming. We just didn't know when.
Yeah, that was a big thing. I think Adam Cole's small. Like, luckily, that's not mattering as much in WB these days. But as we talked about with Big Cass, Vince gets somebody, and there's a story by Bruce Pritchard, which if you want to listen to a really good podcast, something to wrestle with, where he goes over. Basically, they go over a lot of different times and big eras because he worked for WB for years. And one of the things that he talked about was when they signed the Radicals and Eddie Guerrero came in, that Vince looked at Eddie and said he's so small, type of thing. And so even to this day, Vince still has an issue with smaller guys to a certain extent. But I thought that I think that he's a superstar, and I think it opens up for Roode. It was a perfect place for Bobby Roode. They need a really good heel over there. I know Jinder Mahal has been we had a question about what I felt about Jinder Mahal. I thought Mahal has done a good job for the spot he was in. I don't think they set him up to really succeed, but I thought he's done a decent job for where he's been put. Definitely had taken advantage of the opportunity. But I do feel like that Roode going to SmackDown would really make he would be the top guy as far as heel wise, and they really do need a top heel over there.
And I mean, just the people he could go with. I mean, you got AJ.
Sure.
You've got KO. You got,
And I'm not saying KO's not a top heel over there because he is, but he can't do everything. Like he can't be in the U.S. title, feud and be in a world title feud at the same time.
I mean,
so they do need some other guys over there.
To tell you the truth, I'd like to see if they was on by the end. I'd like to see him come in. I'd like to see Nakamura win the night, and then Rude come out Tuesday. And
yeah, I mean, there's been rumors of another superstar shakeup type of thing going on with it. So I think that, we could definitely see, but I don't think we'll see Rude on Tuesday. Not on Tuesday yet. I think we'll see the NXT thing where he gets a rematch, and then maybe he continues. With Drew McIntyre was awesome last night. I watched about the last 10 or 12 minutes of that match just to catch the Adam Cole part, and that guy's something else. I mean, he went from being, as far as kind of being put, you talk about hot shotting, he was definitely hot shotted, and then kind of lost a lot of steam. Joe, don't you think it's weird that somebody tweeted a picture of 3MB, which you don't know the 3-man band, which was Heath Slater, Jinder Mahal, and Drew McIntyre. And basically, they were kind of like a bro country type of. It was just trying to get them on TV type of thing, I'm guessing. Really didn't amount to much. They were basically like glorified jobbers. And somebody posted a meme that was talking about the 3-man band. Now they call them the 3MC or 3-man champs or whatever because they've all held championships within the last calendar year. So they had, of course, Heath Slater was a tag team champion for a while with Rhino. You had Jinder Mahal, who's now the WWE champion. Now you've got Drew McIntyre, which is the NXT champion. And I was thinking about that last night, that the 3-man band has been more successful over the last year than some other guys that we thought would be a little bit more successful coming in. And you got to you got to applaud those guys, right? Overall, those guys have worked really hard to get where they're at. And to see these guys kind of finally succeed, then, I guess you could say the brand split's working when you've got different guys succeeding that didn't really have a chance before. So, but it's neat. So,
hey, you can
what's up, Braden?
Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins kind of matched tonight. You can tell they're a tag team.
Are they going to come out matching?
Oh
yeah, there we go.
Yeah, and Dean has the red and black.
I'm all about that.
Has the red and black Dean Ambrose shirt on, and Rollins has his little get up of red and black.
Yeah, I'm behind here, so they're just now starting to come out. So, Joe, what do you think about Cesaro and Sheamus? I think they've been.
I like them.
A really good tag team.
You talk about something that has saved two people's kind of career type of thing, because they were both kind of on the back burner, even though Cesaro has been really over, but they weren't really using them right, and Sheamus has been on the back. I'm not going to say back burner, but kind of overshadowed by some of the bigger talent. But I think we've always
talked about this. We talk about Paul Heyman and how Heyman could just throw two guys together, and they didn't have nothing to do, and they just threw them together in a tag team. I don't think that Rob Van Dam and Sabu was ever booked to be a tag team. I think he just took two guys, threw them together, was like, all right, let's see what happens, and they ended up being one of the more successful tag teams in ECW. I think that's what WB is starting to find out a little bit. When you have a guy like Heath Slater or Rhino, they're not really doing anything. They're not going to do anything as far as singles competition then, or singles booking. Then you have to turn around and try to figure out something to do. I mean, those are your investments. You just can't have them just stick around, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that's what they've kind of done. I mean, even the New Day. Think about the New Day for a second. Those are three guys that had nothing to do.
Yeah.
They were just kind of – Big E had a little bit of a singles push with Rusev before Rusev kind of became, the big heel on Raw during that time. Kofi was just kind of treading water. He was losing the guys he probably should have lost to. And Xavier Wood was just – I mean, he was in a tag team with Ron Killings.
He was just a mouthpiece too, pretty much.
Yeah, just a mouthpiece at that point. Well, not even then. I mean, he was in a tag team with R-Truth for a while, and that went nowhere. So at some point, I don't know if guys go to them or something, or even something like Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. they don't have nothing to do. They've been in the world title picture, especially in Sheamus's case. You know, he's been in the world title picture. He's won the Intercontinental title a couple of times. He's been the U.S. champion. He's been a good worker. Like, now, some can say he works a little bit sloppy at times. You know, ask Jeff Hardy. You know, as far as losing teeth,
or Jerry the King Lawler.
Or Jerry the King Lawler, right? I mean, he can work a little bit sloppy at times, but he's been a pretty good hand for while he's been in WB. And same with Ambrose and Rollins. They've done everything. And when that happens, what do? You try to find them something to do. And I think it's genius that they've put them in a position to be a tag team and kind of hint at maybe a Shield reunion at some point. But here's two superstars that are super over that you just don't want them kind of treading water. You want them to be significant as far as the title picture goes. I think they've done a good job of that. I think WWE's finally realizing, you know, here's this guy, Tyler Breeze and Fandango, same thing. Here's these two guys. They're not really doing anything. Let's put it together and see what happens. And sometimes magic happens, sometimes it doesn't. But in the case of Sheamus and Cesaro, I think they struck gold there.
Let me ask you something.
Sure.
You remember back in the old days, they used to grab the cameraman's cables and choke people with them?
It's illegal.
Is it?
Yeah, it's when they went. Funny story. The first time Daniel Bryan, when he was with what was they called? The Nexus. He came out and he came out and choked. Yeah. No, actually, he took the cord too, maybe. That was the necktie. But apparently, he did not know that choking like that was, and it apparently it included the cables now, was not part of PG programming anymore. So I think that's why you don't see it as much now, because of the PG programming. Now, if you'd have told me that last week, and I would never thought that Wyatt would have poured fake blood over top of Finn Balor, because I would think that we hadn't seen that. When's the last time we've seen that?
Lord,
I don't even remember. Like, it's been probably 10 plus years. So I think they're starting to loosen up. I don't know if we'll ever see that. I think it's a little bit, even though, listen, wrestling's not fake. You know, these guys go out and they put their bodies on line, and it does hurt, you know, being thrown around and what they call bumping, if you're not familiar. It is predetermined, so I will, admit to that all day. But as far as what these guys do in the ring, it's not fake. They do hurt themselves. They do put themselves through some pretty physical punishment to it's basically ballet for guys, or more action-oriented ballet, I guess. But I think that's a little bit too real for what they're looking to do, I think. So Daniel Bryan ended up getting fired and coming back. But, regardless, I don't think nobody wants to try that because, it's the president has pretty much been set that they don't do that anymore.
I was just wondering. I had never seen it. I never really looked into it. I knew the Daniel Bryan story, but I just never, because you used to see it all the time. Even in WCW,
sure.
You used to see it.
Mm-hmm.
No.
So for all the guys, for all the people that are watching here, please feel free to leave questions, leave comments. That's why we're doing it. We've kind of figured out how to do it on Facebook Live. We want to thank everybody that has watched and left questions for us. I want to thank our friend Cindy Kalinsky. She shared the video for us. So Cindy, if you're still watching, thank you very much. We really appreciate that. We're going to try to do this more often. We usually just do it for the major shows, or if there's like a main event, like we did the Great Balls of Fire pay-per-view. Just silly, just continuing to say that. With Samoa Joe and Brock Lesnar.
Vince's Great Balls of Fire. I gotta go get a new phone. Oh, what is going? Oh,
yeah, you said you dropped yours in the pool.
Yeah, I love that. What a heel move, man. Of course, you probably haven't seen it yet, but
what?
Cesaro going into the crowd?
No, not yet. I'm super behind you. Apparently, I'm gonna try to restart it here.
Well, then you won't see it. So there's been a ball during this whole match. There's been a ball, like a beach ball, being hit.
Oh yeah, he just now didn't he just ripped it up?
Yeah, it's such a great move, man.
That's a great heel move.
It is.
Let me try to back up and come back in. I must not be too far behind you.
Well, I just got buffered, so.
So we always have this issue. Either I'm ahead or you're ahead or Jared's ahead or somebody's always behind. But yeah, we appreciate everybody's watch. I know we've had some people. We had actually some technical difficulties, I guess you could say.
A lot of them.
Joe had some issues jumping on. I was kind of fooling around trying to get us on Facebook Live, trying to figure out what settings I need to do to be able for you to hear Joe's sultry voice over the airwaves and my not so sultry voice over the airwaves. So we kind of got that figured out, and then Facebook apparently heard WB's entrance music or something like that and cut us off. And so we had to get back on, which didn't take too long once we figured out that we was actually off the air to get back on. So
kind of makes us look important.
It does make us look important, man. Monsters of Geek breaking the rules. Now, I know we've had some people asking on both YouTube and not yet on Facebook, but definitely YouTube for us to turn this around and for you guys to watch the pay-per-view with us. That is illegal. We would we could get in trouble both YouTube and YouTube, Facebook, and the WWE. So we don't do that.
Here's the thing: if you're gonna ask us to do that, instead of typing that question out, go to like Hotmail or Yahoo or Gmail and just make a new email and go get it for free for 30 days.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to watch this, and we'll try to be better to announce it. WB does these 30-day free trials that includes that pay-per-view for the month. They usually run them around the major pay-per-views, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, all these different, they're major ones, WrestleMania, obviously. And just like Joe, go make up an email and get you 30 days. If you want to beat the system, try to do that. And I know we had some people say, "Oh, I can't. It ran out." Well, just like Joe said, just go get you another email or use somebody else's email and ask them if that's okay to get the 30-day trial to be able to do that. So I like what they're doing here as far as this matchup, as far as booking. They've really allowed Cesaro and Sheamus to kind of beat up on Seth Rollins, kind of showing.
Match.
Right, and they're trying to show that, I've always had an issue with, these all-star type of pairing, just coming in and running people over type of thing. When you have the tag team champions who's tagged the last 2 years and know how to work together, I like how they're booking this in the sense that they are cutting off the ring. They are being more effective as a tag team than what Ambrose and Rollins have. And people forget Ambrose and Rollins really isn't a tag team.
No.
They was in the Shield together, but it was Roman Reigns and Rollins that actually were the tag team champions.
Yep.
So it makes sense as far as booking and storytelling wise that would be the setup. Right now, Ambrose is taking it to Cesaro.
So when is 2K18 coming out? Do we know?
In October. I think October 29th or something like that.
What's the pre-orders?
I haven't. Let's see. One of them's a Cena pre-order because he's on the front, or they're doing like a Cena special edition, kind of like what they did with Hogan and Stone Cold the last couple of years.
Yeah.
I'm not for sure what's in it. There's like a used Matt card that's in there and some other things. You do get all the packages with it, I believe. Now, just a regular pre-order, I believe, is Kurt Angle. So you get Kurt Angle, which at some point I'm sure will be available as a downloadable character.
Yeah.
But if you pre-order, you get it right when you purchase. So that's someone that we've been waiting on to be in that game forever.
Yes.
It just seems like it's the one guy that's – I think the last time he was in that game was the first one on the 360.
I think so.
That we played the heck out of, Raw versus SmackDown. It was still Raw versus SmackDown then. But I think that was the last time he was in it as a playable character. So I don't know. I want to wait to see the reviews. I think this is probably one of my favorite rosters because of everybody that's on there. You got a true AJ Styles on there now. You do have, you do have an Angle. They released the first 47 characters, I think. So it looks like a pretty good roster so far, but we'll have to see how the gameplay is.
I think it's going to be a lot better than last year. I mean, I liked last year. I think they fixed some of the story mode and stuff like that, which I hope they do. But I really liked last year. It just got the story mode kind of got what's the word I'm looking for here? Redundant. Because you had to face the same person or same people like 18,000 times before you move up.
Yeah, I think we've talked about the better story modes, and I think we're Bring the Pain is always the one that I think we continue to come back through, where you can pick a guy or you can be your own wrestler. You get to form your own stables. It puts you through the tag team. You get to pick your tag team partner.
I mean, I still play
it-
Bring the Pain.
Yeah, I mean it's a great game. I mean obviously it's not the best looking game anymore, but it does. It does bring what it's like to run a storyline in WB and be kind of have a career there. And I don't think that they've – and, we talked about because 2K pioneered the sports games as far as story-wise. Like their 2K basketball series has been huge in the last, 4 years, Joe? They've had some kind of story mode. And so I know that it's not to say people working on it, but you would think that they would be able to craft something like a really good career mode out of something like this. I know Joe does the career mode with the creative player, and you get to decide if you go to hang out with Boogie Cousins or if you go to practice or if you go to some event. So the last one to really do that really well was the one that came after. I think it was Raw vs. SmackDown 09 maybe. The first game that Punk was in, I believe. They did a really cool thing where you had this calendar and you could either not do anything throughout the week and then go and be ready to go as far as full health, or you could go do like charity visits or signings, and it would help you gain popularity, but it would also take away from you wrestling as far as you wouldn't be 100% healthy. And so it was really kind of a neat type of thing, and I hope that that's what they do here.
Well, I mean, I think something like what Madden football is doing
Sure.
would be good, but with the creative character. I don't like that you can't create a character in that. But,
right.
Have them start out in like the indies or something like that. You wrestle a couple of indie matches. It could be some made up indie thing. And then you get noticed to get put on NXT. You work your way through NXT and then to the main roster. Or maybe you're good enough to come straight up to the main roster. Kind of like it was, you could do that with this year's
Day Reckoning.
Well, you could do that with this year's too, except not the indie thing. But if you created a character and you impressed enough, you skipped NXT right off the bat and went to the main roster.
Gotcha.
But
I know with I don't know if people remember. This probably will be the last time we ever talk about wrestling video games, but on the GameCube they had a. This has been a really good match, by the way, as far as the tag team title match for the Raw brand. They did Day Reckoning for the GameCube. It was an exclusive WWE title. That kind of it wasn't as good as the Raw versus SmackDowns or anything like that, but they did do some cool things. And one of the things that they did was where you had to work your way up through like an indie type of setup. Then you would have to get signed, and then you kind of came in and did it that way. It wasn't as robust as far as the creative suite and stuff, but I thought the gameplay was just as good. Definitely, mirrored the other series on the PlayStation 2. But I thought that they did a really good job of kind of really starting your career. I mean, you was working in some kind of podunk, kind of arena and stuff, very kind of slimmed down, and you'd have maybe 10 matches there. And then, they come and they'd sign you and then you'd start your WB career. I think especially with as much as indie wrestling has kind of, taken off the last couple of years, you could definitely do that. Just make up some really weird indie promotion or something.
Well, they wouldn't really have to make anything up though, because don't they still own like Ohio Valley and?
Oh yeah, you could. No, they don't own Ohio Valley. No.
What about?
Well, I mean, you could do like an AWA or something like that. So they do own that. They do own obviously WCW. They own World Class Championship Wrestling out of Texas. So there's some things that they could probably do there. And to be quite honest, I mean, you look at WBE or the 2K games, and you have things like from Nike and everything else. If WB would allow them, you could be like, hey, let's go for their rights to do this, or let's pay, let's get ROH or New Japan in there as far as their logos and whatnot. I think that would actually work.
I doubt New Japan would.
No, New Japan wouldn't. I don't think ROH would either.
Maybe like Pro Gorilla or
PWG. They have some connections there. So
I don't know. ROH may. I mean, they have a pretty good working relationship with ROH, I think. I like to say.
Well, ROH has let them have a lot of their tapes.
Mhm.
So for the Seth Rollins DVD, the Punk DVD, the Kevin Owens DVD, they've been given a lot of tapes to kind of chronicle their career. So tag match has been so good. I wanted to kind of recap because I'm sure people maybe want to know what's going on. Cesaro Sheamus is kind of taking control of the match. They almost tapped out Ambrose, had him in the middle of the ring there. Rollins is out on the outside, and they're going to double team Ambrose. So we'll see what kind of like a reverse. What was the Road Warriors finish? I can't remember what it is now. Doomsday Device.
Doomsday Device, yeah.
But yeah, as you see, we love video games too, so please feel free to ask us questions about video games too, whatever. So we really appreciate everybody watching and hearing us kind of talk about wrestling. Like we said, we are Monsters of Geek blog, so if you haven't liked our Facebook page, it's just Monsters of Geek blog. Go give us a like there. We also have a podcast, Monsters of Geek podcast. We also will have a separate wrestling cast as Monsters of Geek presents, and then we'll reveal the name a little bit later once we do a recording, which hopefully will be next week with myself, Joe, and Jared, which should be on here momentarily, hopefully. And then, of course, we have our main Monsters of Geek podcast. We're on iTunes, Spreaker, and Stitcher as well. So go check us out. And go check out monstergeek.com. It's been a while since we had some new content, which working on something now to put up. But, feel free to go check it out. And we have, some great writers there. We got Andrew. We've got some of Travis's stuff up there, Jenna's stuff up there. Reed, all of our guys that's up there, Daniel. So, and Joe, of course, and myself.
If you like music,
also up there as well.
If you like music, go read Mr. Stamper's intro to ambient music.
Yeah.
That's probably the best pieces that we have up there.
Yeah, Chris Stamper did a great setup of ambient music, and I was reading it, and I told Sean, I was like, I almost feel like we're like it's such a great piece. It should be in a magazine.
Yeah, it should be in almost like a Rolling Stone or
probably one of my favorite pieces. I had no clue about ambient music at all, and it made me actually kind of listen to some because I was interested. And Joe, are you ahead? Did you see what just happened?
Yeah, I'm ahead. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So Ambrose and Rollins are the new Raw Tag Team Champions, which you kind of figured once they brought them together that they might. So that's another title change tonight.
Now,
so we've had,
as I say, now hopefully we'll see the club get some action because this would be a really good feud. I think
it would be. Yeah. So here's something. I wanted to wait to see if this happened to even bring it up. The Masked Man, Dave. What's his last name? I'm forgetting everybody's last name. David Shoemaker. He used to work for ESPN, was Grantland's wrestling coordinator and main wrestling writer. Now works for The Ringer, Bill Simmons' other website after the ashes of Grantland. Yeah. After ESPN, Yeah. Anyway.
We won't get to the subject.
I was reading an article. Yeah. I was reading an article today. It basically is a good article about how, like a fantasy story, like say Game of Thrones or something like that, mirrors what wrestling is and some other things, except that, we have real life drama and everything else that kind of comes with it as far as backstage and whatnot. And how, we complain about finishes and everything else. He brought up an interesting, he actually said it on his podcast, but I don't listen to his podcast much because I got too many podcasts anyway. So, I was reading the article and he kind of reiterated his booking, his fantasy booking, I guess. Ever since they've done this kind of Shield mini reunion with the 2 out of the 3 Shield members, it's been everybody's. I guess it's how they gonna get Roman Reigns back in there. I mean, if they're gonna do the Shield, I mean Roman has to be a part of it, type of thing. I think that he booked something that was really cool, and if it happened, then it would be super, super awesome if it did happen. These guys win the tag titles that they obviously have. This heads into the 4-way. If you're not familiar with the SummerSlam pay-per-view, with the SummerSlam main event, it's Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, Samoa Joe, and Braun Strowman for the world title in a 4-way match. So listen to this booking he has. So basically, he has booked Ambrose and Rollins to come down, interfere, and have Roman Reigns win the title.
That'd be cool.
And then basically you have the Shield goes back to being heels. And so now you have Roman who can kind of embrace being a face or being a heel in this new version of the Shield, I guess. And they would hold, 2/3 of the titles that Raw has on it currently. So I actually like that booking. I think it would be interesting. It would be an interesting way to bring back the Shield. And to be quite honest, it would probably help Roman Reigns get over a little bit.
Yeah.
Even because I don't think they would be heels. I think they'd be faces. Or not, I'm sorry, they would be heels, but they would be cheered like faces, I should say. So it's an interesting booking. That would be the only way that I could think of Roman Reigns being involved with the Shield. Or the Shield reunion, I should say.
I wouldn't mind to say that or see that. Even though I really don't want the belt on Reigns, but I think it would help Reigns, and I think it would be an interesting little thing that you could do.
But I think we both agree that we would be okay with a Reigns heel champion, not necessarily a face champion. Because I think we both can agree we like Roman Reigns in the sense of he's a good worker. I think that, as far as athleticism, I'm not saying he's the best worker, but I think at this stage in the career, I think he's a better worker than what Cena was at this stage in his career. I think he's athletic. I think he can work with a lot of different guys. But the big thing is that he does come off as very arrogant and he's not great on the mic. But he's the best on his mic when he's very short. And I think if he could really embrace being a heel champion, I think that would work out really well.
I mean, I think we preached that a lot of times on the podcast and on other things. The same thing. It just make him a heel, and I think it'd be a lot better. Just let him embrace it.
Yeah,
because right now,
and I think you put Rollins.
Right now, you're in the kind of in the middle with him.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a face. He's not really a heel. I mean, and he has a great gimmick, really, to put it. He really has a great gimmick to help out with that heel. I mean, he's not a guy. He's not a good guy. He's not a bad guy. He's the guy. I mean, that's something that a heel would say.
Right.
So he's very heelish to a point. But
yeah, I mean, I think his natural. I'm not saying he's a bad guy because I don't think he is, but I think his natural arrogance comes out, and I think just like The Rock, The Rock, you could tell has a natural arrogance about him, and that's when they finally allowed him to embrace that. That's how we got The Rock. So, and I'm not saying Roman Reigns is a heel and all of a sudden he's The Rock because that's not what I'm trying to say. But I think his career could kind of be saved, I guess, to a certain extent. Well, let me say this. If WWE's going to push him, WWE's going to push him. Like they're still making a ton of money off of sales. Women and children love him. That's basically as far as who's buying their merchandise, that's who's going to buy the merchandise. So either way, Roman Reigns, I mean, he's not going to lose his job or anything like that. But I think if they really wanted to maximize what he could do, him being a heel would maximize that.
Or if they're not going to change him to a heel, they need to go ahead and turn Cena heel.
Sure.
And do something with them. Or
well, I think it's been rumored they're trying to head for a Roman Reigns Cena match at WrestleMania because I don't think they've ever had a match.
I don't think so. And if John Cena's going to retire soon, I want to see him as a heel again.
Sure. Yeah, I think that Cena will always be a face to a certain extent, so I don't think it's going to be. I don't think him all of a sudden being a heel is going to change that. To be honest, one of the things that let's talk about the matches up now. Of course, this is for the United States Championship from the SmackDown brand of the blue brand. It's Kevin Owens and AJ Styles for the U.S. title. It's been a really good booked feud. Saw Owens beat AJ at the pay-per-view. AJ wins at Madison Square Garden, which at a house show, which for people that don't know what a house show is, it's basically kind of like a practice run. Yeah, basically. That's what exactly it is. It's practice. And surprisingly, it was all over Twitter that AJ had beaten Owens for the belt at Madison Square Garden, a house show, which he did. And then Owens won it. Yeah, Owens won it back. I can't remember when he won it back, but I guess it was on SmackDown. Won the title back. They had a three-way championship match with Jericho, Owens, and AJ Styles. AJ won it back again and has held it since. They brought in Shane McMahon as a special guest referee. Both AJ and Owens have had their issues with it. With Shane, of course, we both know that AJ and Shane has had a great match at WrestleMania, kind of possibly the best match of the night on WrestleMania last year, 33. And then KO's had some issues with Owens, so they kind of interjected Shane into this. Rumor has it they're going to build up to a Shane and Owens match. It could be at Survivor Series, could be at WrestleMania. That opens up Joe. If that's the case, Owens probably loses here, I would think. And his feud with Shane kind of continues to kind of build. I like the addition of Shane. I'm not usually a big fan of special guest referees, but I think that this is a pretty good addition there to this feud. What have you thought about the feud overall? Do you think it's been booked well? Have you liked what you saw?
I think it's been one of the best booked feuds that we've had in a long time, very long time.
And of course, it's elevated the U.S. title. I think that's the big thing. I think WWE over the last 3 years have not really has not been given enough credit in building the secondary championship. The Intercontinental Champ and the U.S. Championship was, those were big back in the day. And there was a while there where, some people call these belts props, and for a while there, it really was treated as a prop. It was, you could be U.S. champ now, or you could be Intercontinental Championship now. And I'm not saying these things should be bigger than the world title, but they've putting them on guys like AJ and Owens and The Miz and Dean Ambrose can really lift the title and make it more important. And I think these undercard kind of secondary championships have kind of taken on almost like a main event status. I mean, they are worthy of the second spot as far as the main event. I think they've done a really good job of – WWE's done a lot of things wrong. Over the last year, I think they've done more right than they have wrong, and one of the things that they've done right is allowing the U.S. title to be elevated, allowing the Intercontinental title to be elevated into these main event feuds.
Well, I think that for a while, the roster just didn't allow it. For a while after –
Sure.
After the Attitude Era.
They had 12,000 belts, so.
Yeah. But, you did see, like, the Intercontinental Championship and stuff like that on people that were good. Very good.
Right.
And then after that era, you didn't really see that often because I hate to say it, but the talent just wasn't that great. But now, you got this buildup of indie guys that everybody knows, that knows how to work, that's worked with each other before outside of the WWE. And they're just able to put on these matches that we've really never seen before.
Well, they've also been able, and you talked about that, like, you look at something like, for example, I think one of the best secondary championships that almost got elevated to the point where it was the main title was when Rob Van Dam held, and I wish Jared was here because he loves Rob Van Dam and loves his title run at ECW when he was a TV title champion, or TV champion over there. That was in 90, he carried that thing from 96 to 98 or 99, I think, until he literally got hurt. Like, they took him off of it because he got hurt. You could say the Miz's Intercontinental title runs have been really good. I think the Miz has, I wouldn't care if they kept the title on the Miz forever, because I do think I think you have to have with a champion, you either have to have someone that's a super baby face that when they lose you're super surprised, or a heel that when they win you're super surprised. And I think the Miz is the opposite of what, say, like an AJ Styles, is that AJ's just awesome athlete, already a world champ. When he gets beat, it's a big deal. When he wins, you expect him to win. The Miz, he just kind of holds on to the belt, in some way or another he holds on to it. So I think it's cool that in a lot of the indie, championships. You look at something like the ROH TV title, or even for a while there, the ROH tag titles were main event spots. Briscoes and Roderick Strong and Aries and Tyler Black, which is Seth Rollins now, and Jimmy Jacobs. Those guys had some, or Owens and Generico.
Yeah.
Those were main event matches, and I think that sometimes you want the title to elevate the wrestler, but sometimes you need the wrestler to elevate the title. When you do need somebody elevated, that title is actually important, and I think that they've done a pretty good job of that over the last couple of years.
I mean, it's the Intercontinental Championship really lost steam for a long time. Probably, I'm not going to say since Razor Ramon held it, but that's what brought the Intercontinental Championship back, was when Razor Ramon won that Intercontinental Championship.
Right.
That was a great run. And then it just kind of lost steam. I think The Rock might have held it for I don't know how long, but that was before he really became The Rock.
Well, I think you look at talk about the Intercontinental title. It was for a long time. If you had the Intercontinental Championship, there was a good chance he was going to be world champion.
Yep.
I mean, look at who held it. Bret Hart held it. We talked about Razor Ramon. Shawn Michaels held it numerous times. And then he became obviously world champ. Bret Hart did. Razor left before he got it. I'm sure he would have been a world champion at some point. Even that, Kevin Nash, Diesel had the Intercontinental title. And then you look into the Attitude Era. You talk about The Rock. You talk about Triple H. You talk about Stone Cold, Goldust. All those guys elevated the championship. And I don't think you'll get any argument that WB, as far as wrestling wise, was not good in the Attitude Era. Like, you had the top guys, and then you had this big gap as far as wrestling talent. There's a lot of gimmick matches and everything else that they had to put guys in because they just.
You still had pretty bad gimmicks too on some of those.
Sure, a lot of bad gimmicks. But now you look at WB and you have the world title, which is what's supposed to be the best wrestler in the company, or the guy that is the champ. Now you have now the gap between the wrestler at the top and the gap as far as talent wise is so much slimmer than what it was then, that you'd be like, hey man, we got AJ, let's put the US title on him and let him carry it for a while. Let Owens carry it for a while. Let's have the Miz carry the Intercontinental Championship. So I think these guys help it make something. And to be quite honest, you got to kind of look at Cena. When Cena was out of the world title picture when Brock first came back and won the belt. Yeah. I mean, for him to be like, hey, let's try to elevate these titles, right? And as much as we kind of complain about Cena throughout his career in WB as far as being pushed down our throat type of thing, the guy the last couple years, I mean, we talk about Hogan and a lot of these guys not wanting to put people over and all this stuff, kind of holding their spot. Up to Cena, he's really elevated a lot of guys you see now that's in the top spot. A lot of titles that you see are in the top spot because he decided he didn't want to go into business for himself, but he wanted to have a WB to come back to when it is time for him to retire, type of thing. So, for as much as we kind of rag on John Cena, I think we like him a lot more than what we ever did when he was being pushed as champ. But I think he's done a lot. He's done the opposite of what some of the old guys have done. He knows he'll always have that spot. He doesn't necessarily have to come back and win every time.
I don't think he should win it ever again.
Yeah, I don't know if he will. I think that they wanted to kind of tie him. I think at some point he'll probably break it because, WB likes to write history, and basically they own all the history at this point as far as major promotions. So I think at some point he'll probably break it, but I don't know when. I don't know if it'll be soon. I don't know if it'll be WrestleMania. I think it'd be interesting if they did turn the Roman Reigns heel, to have a face Cena and a heel Roman Reigns for the title. I think that'd be interesting. Now that would allow and that would give Roman a really big run. I mean, so you're say he wins tonight. You got August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. So that's 8 months. Is that right? Am I right? So we're at nature. So that would give him a really good 8-month run. Cena comes in, breaks the record, maybe drops it back to him the next pay-per-view or something. But
another thing they could do though, because I don't think we've seen it. I can't remember if we have or not. I don't think we have though, because I think they've been on 2 different brands. They have been on 2 different brands. Is if Samoa Joe wins it tonight and keeps it till Mania and book a Joe and Cena match.
Sure.
I think that would be a really good draw. I think they already had a Nakamura Cena match on SmackDown, but that'd be a fun match too if you wanted to do that. But no, I think I'd like to see a Cena Samoa Joe because it's been built up. The AJ and Cena thing was built up, and it was a really good feud. And I think it could be the same thing with Joe. I really do. I think Joe. I'm not saying that the AJ just out wrestled Cena that whole thing. Just quicker.
Well, I mean, I don't think there's anything. I don't think somebody would say that as far as a technical wrestler and what he does in the ring, that Cena is a better wrestler than AJ. But you have to give Cena enough credit that if you give him the right dance partner,
oh yeah,
Cena can put a tremendous match on.
I'm not saying that.
Same with Reigns. Reigns the same way.
I'm not saying that. That first match that they had, though, you could just see
the
difference between them. The second and third matches were tremendous. And it was the same thing with Reigns. The first match when Reigns and AJ wrestled, you could tell just the difference in and then the second, third one was really good. And I think that Joe and Cena could work great together because they're both hard hitters. They both kind of work stiff to a point. But I think that would be a really good feud.
Well, I mean, their styles definitely are more of the same, I guess. And I think it's like Joe and Lesnar, right? Kind of the same way. I mean, they're both very similar in what they do. And sometimes you get people – sometimes you try to mix and match too much as far as like, AJ and Cena should have never worked. I mean, if you look at their styles, they probably should have never.
No.
But before AJ got there, Cena was having great matches with like Sami Zayn and some of the other guys, Owens, and it allowed him to change his style just enough where it didn't seem like it was such a weird style mesh,
And when you have somebody like AJ Styles, they're almost like a Shawn Michaels that can carry anybody. Because technically, I mean, those matches between Michaels and Cena probably should have never been that pretty, but because of someone like a Shawn Michaels, you could have that happen because he could carry him.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying that AJ carried – the first match, AJ carried him.
Yeah.
But that second, third match, I mean, Cena was great in it, and I was really happy with the outcome.
Well, I think you always get that because, I mean, anytime you put two guys in there that hasn't – I think sometimes we forget that AJ's pretty much worked with everybody but Cena at some point. And I think that Cena, because he's – AJ talked about it on the Edge and Christian podcast where you're in this bubble, and he didn't realize how popular he had become outside of that TNA bubble or Impact or whatever it's called now. And I think Cena – he's been WWE's golden boy for so long that, he hasn't got a chance to run the indies. He hasn't got a chance to face a lot of these guys. So when they do these all-star matchups, the first ones are usually good. Sometimes they're terrible. There's really no in-between. That was a good match. And then the next two times, because they know what they can do and they know each other a bit more even after one match, they know each other so much better that they can really do some cool stuff. And I thought those two matches evolved. And I'm always – maybe get your take on this. I'm always interested to see like in a few – something like this or, seeing an AJ face 3 times, Reigns and AJ faced a couple times, how they kind of make each match different. Because I thought that AJ in every feud that he's had so far, I've thought that – how many ref bumps are we going to have in this match?
This Shane match,
third
probably
ref
a
bump.
few. He might end up to the announcer table.
But I think that they've done a good job. AJ is so good about having different matches. I mean, he can face Samoa Joe 50 times, and they're all going to be something's going to be different, in that match. I think
he's very similar.
Same with Joe.
He's very similar, like I said, to Shawn Michaels. That was how Michaels did.
Yeah.
Almost every match, it was different. If he was in a multi-feud match. And I think it takes a special person, a special athlete to be able to do that. to give you something new every single time. So, I mean, it's not like, I mean, we all love seeing, Brock Lesnar throw people around like a rag doll.
Right.
But he's never going to give you another match like that, or a different match.
Right.
I mean, we can see AJ completely dominate a match with just technique, and then the next match, it'd be something like he's putting on right now with KO. He just,
Right.
Because I mean, we've seen it happen before. It just takes a special wrestler, and I don't think there's many. I mean, there's a lot of wrestlers that are on the indie that's like that. I think Omega's one of them.
Right.
Adam
Bucks.
Yeah, Adam Cole that just came in is probably one of them. But a lot of the New Japan people, Nakamura is like that. Nakamura can put on some heck of matches. Now, but I mean, it just takes it's these guys, like you said. Cena has never really wrestled any indie scene.
Nope.
I mean, he was in Ohio Valley for a while, or not even a while.
But that's, I mean, at that point, that's not an indie.
No.
I mean, they were basically like a feeder system at that point. They were. That's exactly what they were.
But I mean, these guys have worked with so many different guys, so many different talents, that it just helps their career. And even AJ, ROH and TNA, he was still probably one of the best in the world then.
Oh, by far. I mean, I think AJ's been the best in the world for the last 6 or 7 years. Oh man, that's such a great move off that.
I mean, it's just a shame that we'll never see like a Punk AJ feud in WWE.
Well, listen, I think it's a better chance that CM Punk comes back to WWE more so than he doesn't come back at all.
In my head, I kind of want him to go to New Japan just so he can be in the club.
In the club, yeah, they've hinted that an awful lot. And I guess him and Omega and the Young Bucks are all, I guess, pretty good friends. Apparently,
I can't remember who else they said. Him and there was one more person, Hulk Hogan.
Oh yeah,
Hulk Hogan always has an open invite for the club.
Yeah, had an open invite to be part of the Bullet Club. Yeah.
But I just would love to see. I don't want to see them guys leave New Japan because I think that's really helping New Japan build a Western audience, and I think that will help us get a better WWE to a point.
Sure.
I mean, competition's always good, but man, I would just love to see those guys come to WWE and Bullet Club for them. I mean, that's just what
I think. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's just what I want to see. Like,
I was thinking about the Young Bucks the other day, and the Young Bucks, if you like them or not, I'm a huge fan of them. I think they're very entertaining, both in the ring and outside the ring as well. I think them and Omega. I think it's the first time I've seen AJ miss that kick. I think that they have changed the game so much.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say it was a good recover from that botch.
Yeah, that was it was a pretty good recovery from that botch. Just like maybe he slipped a little bit. Anyway, I think that they've changed the game so much in terms of what somebody can do on the indies. I mean, the Young Bucks was on Edge and Christian's podcast and was talking about how much money they made. And he said, this is the most money we've ever made in our lives. And they're not even – I mean, they're under contract with ROH and under contract with New Japan, but they're not on WB TV.
Yeah.
They're not even on TNA TV.
No.
Like, as far as the two major promotions over here. So, well, I guess – TNA or Global Force or whatever, I guess you have to consider the second one, I guess. I think ROH is pretty close to that. But anyway, back to the subject. They've changed everything so much. I was thinking about when they would actually come in to WB. That could be it. Nope. Oh, that's a good finish. Well, I haven't seen the finish yet, but I just saw the rope, the foot on AJ's foot on the ropes. But I was thinking about that the other day, when we would see kind of Omega and the Young Bucks kind of come in. I think it's one of those things where they just want to make a short run. I think we'll see them for like a year, maybe 2, and then they're back to doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
I don't think they need WB. I don't necessarily think WB needs the Young Bucks, but I think, for them to go against the Revival or for them to go against New Day. I just think there's so many great things as a fan I would like to see. But I don't – obviously the Young Bucks do not need the WWE. They could stay in Japan all their lives and be perfectly fine. I think a lot of it is, how long will they stay away from their families? I think that's going to be the biggest issue.
Because I mean, with a company like New Japan, I mean, there's only one place that they really wrestle.
Right, and they're just now starting to come to the U.S. It's only for 2 weeks out of the year.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that AJ talked about. He was like, I wanted to kind of come back over to the States. He said I wasn't opposed to going back to New Japan, but I didn't. I was just getting a little bit tired of having big tours over there and not getting to see my family. Versus, he's like, I know the WWE schedule keeps you on the road, but at least I'm in the same country.
Yeah.
And I think that that's going to be something that is going to be big going forward is, how long, because I know both of them, I think, have kids. That was a well-booked match. A lot of ref bumps, but they built that storyline between Owens and AJ, or Owens and Shane.
Hey, speaking of Omega, look, there's a Kenny Omega shirt.
Of course there is. But I mean, I want to see it. I don't know if it'll ever happen, but I think at some point we'll see them in there. I just don't think it's going to be I don't think they're going to be all of a sudden WB lifers. I think they'll come in, make an impact, head back out to the Indies, and make more money.
Here's the thing that I think the Bucks will look at, though, is if you're
just joining us, AJ Styles just retained the U.S. title in a great match with Kevin Owens. Of course, it's great. It's Owens and AJ,
but here's something I think the Bucks would look at. You had one of the greatest tag teams in the world at the time, maybe the best, in the Good Brothers, come into WWE, and then, I mean, they've done nothing.
Sure. Yep.
So I mean,
they had a short title run. Was it like a 2-month title run?
Yeah, which it should have been longer, but
sure, I agree 100%.
They kind of, I'm not going to say they smooshed them or anything, but I mean, they have such great talent. And then, then they always talk about the Revival too, because everybody was talking about how the Revival is one of the best tag teams in the world. Now they got the whole thing going against the Revival, which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
I can't really say what they say, but the whole
actually, you did know they got a cease and desist letter on it.
Did they really?
Yeah, but people still do the acronym for it. I can't say what it is. I'm not going to. You go look on Twitter. You'll find it. But apparently on the they have the Becoming the Elite series, which is them and Kenny Omega, and they have like these Q&As, and it's usually Cody and Cody Rhodes and Hangman Page and the Bucks and Omega, and apparently they had they had got a cease and desist letter, not to say the phrase, but they came out at New Japan the other day with the acronym on their vest, which is absolutely hilarious. And I know there's some people like obviously Jim Cornette, which to be quite honest, I'm about tired of Jim Cornette. I think he's an old man. I think he's entertaining because of the fact that he's just so absurd and filthy mouthed, and he's just constantly mad, like he's in perpetual anger all the time. He tells people, "Oh, the Bucks are killing the business, and Omega's killing the business." And listen, the business has been. This is probably, I would say, the business is the healthiest it's been since ROH first came on the scene. And I think that they have done a great job. I mean, look at all the indie promotions, all the great matches, all the stuff they're coming out, more indie guys than ever coming to WWE. For someone like Jim Cornette, and I'm not taking anything away from Cornette in the sense of what he's done for the business. He at one point was a creative genius. I'm not really for sure if he could do that now. But he just doesn't want to admit, like Joey Ryan. Look, not everybody likes Joey Ryan. Joey Ryan's sleazy character is great. Not everybody likes the suplex he does, and it does. And I think there's different tiers of wrestling. There's serious wrestling and then there's comedic wrestling. And I think Joey Ryan has great comedic wrestling. That's what makes him a big presence on Twitter. That's what makes him big in Japan, as he says, big on the indies. All you hear Jim Cornette say all the time is he didn't draw money, or you need to draw money. Listen. Joey Ryan is making the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega. They're all making more money than Jim Cornette. They're all making a great living doing what they love. And if that's how they do it and they're having fun doing it and the business is booming, then I think Jim Cornette should shut his mouth. Anyway, that's my rant on Jim Cornette.
I mean, the Young Bucks has done something that, and Omega has done something that no other wrestler has ever done, and that's pretty much, well, maybe besides like the NWO. I know they had WCW, but I mean that was to a point. But I mean these guys are indie guys that has signed these exclusive deals with like Hot Topics and people like that, and have just made a living, and I must say a small fortune off of just themselves. So it's so I mean, good for them. There's some of my favorite wrestlers, and I would love to see them in WWE. I'd like to see them get, what people see as the premier organization in wrestling. I'd love to see them carry those titles, but they don't have to. I mean,
Joe, keep us going. I'm going to change Mara Stopper. Be right back.
Okay. Well, I'm buffering anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, I mean, it's something that I'd like to see. It's something that they don't really have to do. But we'll see what happens. Well, here comes a wrestler, Nakamura, that a lot of people aren't really giving the props because I don't know why. I'll tell you the truth. I mean, he's a huge star in Japan. Still is a huge star. Was a huge star over there when he was over there. I mean, it's somebody that could really carry a lot of the weight for the WWE if they'd let him. Now, if he gets beat by Jinder Mahal here, I will be mad. They really got to really watch what they do here, because these are two. Let's see here. These are two areas that WWE is trying to push toward. They're trying to build up their Japan crowd, and they're trying to build up their India crowd as well, and get the network pushed over there. So this is very interesting booking because you can make a lot of people mad in two places that you're trying to build up your presence in India and Japan. And you can make a lot of people mad here if you don't book it right too, because there's a lot of Nakamura fans, and I really hope that they push Nakamura. I think it's time for him to get his push. I think it's time for him to get a really good title run, and I mean, get his first world championship run. I'm not guessing that it would be his first world championship run. And I don't think anybody in the business deserves to win it for the first time more than Nakamura right now. And it could give them a good push, a good reason why if they wanted to bring up Bobby Roode, because they had some awesome matches in NXT. If you didn't get to watch those, go back and watch all those matches, because all those matches were great. It could give him a reason to move up Roode and automatically book him in the top, push him to the top with a big feud with Nakamura. It could also give them, yay, what's new? The network is currently not letting me play. Hold on real quick. Gotta get another remote control. All right. But anyway, back to Nakamura and Rude. I mean, that'd be a great feud for them to have. It'd be a great feud if you want to put a Kevin Owens in with them. Be a great feud as well. Give Owens back to the top. Even a good feud for Cena. I mean, they had a heck of a match on SmackDown when they faced for the first time. And as we were talking before, with Cena always gets better when he wrestles people multiple times. And of course, it's on a mess up here. Yay, thanks, WWE. You're great. Fix your servers, WWE. Favorite wrestlers on. And the servers are going down. So, but
I think they should book the Nakamura and the Violin guys tag team champions.
Yeah. Now I was just going on. I don't know if you heard it or not, but
I didn't.
About how it's time that this is interesting booking because they're trying to build up their viewers in Japan and they're trying to build up their viewers in India, so they could really, make some people mad with this booking.
I know, but they're both booked, which is what
Yeah,
they're both booked in the main event, which is always a good thing.
Or co-main event.
Yeah, co-main event.
But I mean, it's time for Nakamura to get his first championship run. It's probably past.
So here we go. If Nakamura wins this, we've had every major title change hands. Obviously, the Intercontinental title wasn't on the card as far as defense. It was on the undercard. I'm sorry, it was not defended at all. Let me clarify. It was a 6-man match with the Intercontinental champion in it, but not the title.
Who won that match, by the way?
I missed it. I didn't watch that one. So we've had new Cruiserweight champion that will be Tosawa.
Yep.
As my daughter Meredith has given her opinion on the pay-per-view here.
Yeah, she's saying Nakamura's on win is what she's saying.
We had new tag team champions on SmackDown. The Usos beat the champs, the New Day. We had both women's championship change. SmackDown went to Natalya. The Raw Women's Champion went back to Sasha Banks. We had the Raw tag team titles change hands. So the first title that didn't change hands was the U.S. title. So 5 of the 6 titles that's been defended on has changed hands. I can't remember the last time that has happened.
It's been a while.
It's been a long time since we had that many title changes on one show. So now we have the WWE Championship match coming up, World Championship, Nakamura and Jinder Mahal. I think at this point, you got to think Nakamura is a shoe-in. Now we got to think, does Brock Lesnar actually retain at this point? I don't know. We don't know his UFC status. I know there's some John Jones, more than mumbling.
No, it's not happening.
It's going to happen at this point, I would think. I agree 100%. They're looking for.
Here's the thing with that match or that matchup with John Jones and Lesnar. Both of those guys want money. And if you can get $100 million from Conor McGregor and a 40-year-old Floyd Mayweather, how much are you gonna get paid for this match? So, but no, nothing against Jinder Mahal. Jinder Mahal's title run has actually been a really good title run.
It's been solid. It's been nothing special,
but it's been good to see a heel character like this do a title run. It's been a while since we had a straight heel. Well, KO, but people like KO. People don't like Jinder Mahal.
Right. So, yeah. It's like the Miz, right? Everybody complained about him having the Intercontinental title for so long, but he was a straight heel, and he was awesome at it.
But, in real life, Nakamura could probably really kick off 3 of these guys' butts at the same time.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
But this should be a good, strong style match. Both these guys work kind of stiff. Now that concussion that, sidelined Finn Balor there for a couple of weeks when he faced Jinder Mahal wasn't really Jinder Mahal's fault. I think it was just a really bad botch. I think
I think it was.
I think the timing was off.
You go back and look at it. Timing was off, and I think distance was the big thing. I think maybe he thought he had a little bit more distance between them.
But
it's not like he's Sheamus, but
But I mean, talk about somebody that has really built up. You gotta. I admire Jinder Mahal's work ethic. I mean, he has really put in a lot of work from his time as 3M to now.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm happy to see him. I'm happy to see just a straight heel have this good. I must say, probably one of the best heel runs we've seen in the last 5-6 years.
Sure.
So
I agree with that.
Straight heel run. Because you put KO in there and everybody KO still gets cheers. I mean, there's nobody cheering for Jinder Mahal. Which I got my Sensei Nakamura shirt on, baby. Ripping.
I'm actually gonna go buy. I'm gonna buy my first WB shirt, Johnny Gargano shirt, which I'm a huge Johnny wrestling fan. I think he's great. Is really cool looking, and it's sold out in my size. So I'm gonna kind of wait till it comes back in stock. But so I was like, I think I'll buy that shirt. I usually don't buy WB shirts, but that one is the one I'm buying. So
I've bought 2 so far, and there's a lot more I'd like to buy. But I bought this Shinsuke shirt, and I bought a Valor Club shirt. Which
gotcha.
both of those are NXT shirts. They're not really
right.
the shirts now, but I'd like to have a new Shinsuke shirt. His shirts are always probably some of the cooler ones. And of course, I like to have a Samoa Joe shirt too.
So here we are, the WWE World Heavyweight Championship match. It's Nakamura versus the champion, or the challenger, I should say, Shinsuke Nakamura versus the champion, Jinder Mahal.
I mean, Jinder Mahal just looks like a heel. I mean, he looks like an old school heel.
He does.
Like that.
I'm surprised they didn't give him the camel clutch as his finisher.
Yeah.
I guess because Rusev has it, I guess.
That or the Sheik might have had to put a blessing on that.
Now, before you was on, Joe, I was kind of talking about Jinder Mahal, and I kind of expressed the same thing. It's been nothing special, but I thought he's kind of rose to the occasion. As my daughter Meredith has really been healing it up this evening. She's supposed to be in bed about 2 hours ago, and she's just looking out, smiling, wide awake. So she's definitely being a heel to her parents tonight. Though she doesn't have a heel's face like Jinder Mahal does. So
No, but the only thing about this match though is this is one of those matches to where we could see like the technique style come in, because
sure,
Shinsuke can really outwork and outshine Jinder Mahal, but I think Shinsuke is one of those guys that can put on a good match with anybody. So I'd like to see how it works.
I think it's gonna be interesting. I read an article, or maybe on some podcast where they have been saying that Shinsuke really hasn't made the impact on SmackDown that they thought he would. I think Dave Meltzer has talked about it. And, he's been matched up with some guys. They talked about the Corbin thing. They talked about the Ziggler thing, and I thought him and Ziggler would be a bit better of a match, I guess. But I think at that point, Ziggler had kind of lost his shine a little bit. And they said that Ziggler got too much offense in and stuff like that, which could very well have been the case. But, his match with Cena was really good, even though, the botch that everybody kind of talks about. We'll probably talk about this on the podcast a little bit too, that botch, whose fault it was. Bubba Ray Dudley had a really good analysis of it, where it seemed like Cena didn't almost pushed up too much, and then the angle and plus Cena never took an exploder suplex like that.
No.
So, you got two guys that's never worked together saying, hey, you never take this move, let me see what we can do. And, Shinsuke's used to having other guys take that move. So,
but I mean, I don't think – I mean, there's a lot of people that knew Shinsuke's work in New Japan, but there are a lot of these younger people who don't really know anything other than WWE. I'm not going to say younger people. I'm just going to say fans in general that don't really know anything but the WWE, really didn't know who Shinsuke was, and still probably don't know who Shinsuke was.
right.
And the people that do are the people that you get that give him good pops, would enjoy his stuff on SmackDown, but the so many of the universe, they just know him as somebody that they really don't know.
Right.
And I think that hurts to a point when you see that, when you get an international star like this come in, that nobody really knows. Well, I'm not going to say nobody really knows, but a good majority of the universe didn't know his work until he came into WWE.
Well, I thought they did a good job of, but not everybody watches NXT. I think we forget about
exactly,
that.
Yeah, they built him up brilliantly in NXT.
Sure.
And
we see NXT as, for a long time, probably the best of the brands.
Yeah.
As far as the wrestlers we want to see. I think that we forget that not everybody watches NXT. Like the casual fan does not watch NXT. So sometimes we forget, and maybe in Bailey's case as well, sometimes we forget not everybody knows Shinsuke or a Bailey, but we've known them for the last 2 years, and we know what they're capable of.
And see, that's what I'm going to be afraid of with well, I think people might know Adam Cole, but I think that's what AJ had a lot of push coming in because he was in TNA. People knew him from that, knew he was a good wrestler and that. But, it hurts to a point because, like you said, not everybody watches NXT.
Right.
Matter of fact, a lot of people just pay $9.99 just for the pay-per-views because it pays for itself.
Right.
So, because back in
how much are pay-per-views now? How much are regular pay-per-views now?
I don't know. When we was ordering, we didn't have to order many of them thanks to Papa's friend who gave him the
illegal cable card.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But there was back in our day they were about $50 or something like that.
Well, I think WrestleMania in HD is like $70, if I'm not mistaken. Like, it's a lot.
So you got paid about $10 for 12 months. It's $120. Right there.
Right.
That's half of WrestleMania. And I say the pay-per-view. A lot of the pay-per-views I don't know are usually exclusive now, aren't they?
A lot of minus the major ones like Survivor Series, SummerSlam, and WrestleMania and Royal Rumble, I think, are the ones like the big four, right,
yeah,
are still offered. But I think as far as the SmackDown and Raw ones, I don't think I haven't looked in forever, but I don't think that they're offered just to call up your cable company.
I think they're always exclusive from the way that they always say exclusively on WWE Network. So.
And whoever's watching, I don't see, maybe we don't have anyone watching now, but again, this is Monster Geek. This is what we call Monster Geek Discuss, and this is SummerSlam 2017. If you have any questions or anything, if you're on YouTube or if you're on Facebook here, please feel free to give some questions. We have some great questions starting off, and so please feel free to ask them now.
I'll tell you another good feud for Shinsuke if they wanted to do it, and I know they're on the different brands, but if they ever redone the branding, would be a Roman Reigns feud.
Sure. Well, I think that's the thing that makes WWE so good right now is there's so many fresh matchups, and then there's so many fresh matchups in the future.
I think you said WBC.
Oh.
I may have heard you wrong.
Because there's so many guys in you look at like a Tommy and some of the guys down there, Gargano, obviously Cole, Rude, Drew McIntyre, Bobby Fish, O'Reilly, EY, all those guys. And whoever else that they decide to bring in.
Authors of Pain.
The Authors of Pain is good. You talk about guys like Leo Rush. It's been rumored to go to WWE. Donovan Dijak, I think it's how you say his last name, head to WWE as well at some point. So it's just a lot of fresh faces. And I think what Triple H has done that they didn't do in the past is, one, he respects the independent guys, and then he also has created NXT to be this thing. Hey, let's go ahead and get these guys noticed, and then we can kind of decide from there. I think Mike Bennett should have went down to NXT.
Yeah.
I've said that from the get. I don't know why. I think the only reason he got brought up, and I think Mike Bennett is a great talent, but one of the only reasons he got brought up was because of Maria. They wanted Maria on the main roster. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that hurt Mike Bennett because he has lost a ton of traction. And I'm not saying it's not even a bad gimmick. I actually really like the gimmick. It reminds me of like a Mr. Perfect gimmick combined with a dude with a Brother Love gimmick or something. It's really kind of an odd gimmick, but it worked for those two. But I felt like Bennett should have went to NXT. I don't think Bennett was such a known name. Maria is, but not Bennett. And I think it's hurt him, overall. But I think that Triple H has done a really good job of creating these characters for these guys, waiting, building the anticipation for them to make their main roster debut. I mean, Shinsuke, everybody thought he should have been up a year ago, but they kind of held him off, and it kind of built the anticipation. I think they've done a really good job of that so far.
Well, I think the only reason why Shinsuke wasn't on a main roster when he first came in was one, mic skills, because he had to learn.
Right, because he had to learn language, right.
And then another thing is maybe build his character because, like we said before, nobody really knew outside of the people that really keep up with wrestling that who Shinsuke was.
Right.
So
I think they've already booked Shinsuke better in this match. He's kind of dominated the match, kind of shown that he is the better wrestler. And I think that's what a lot of people has complained about. My wife's a huge Shinsuke fan. She likes Shinsuke. And I think a lot of it because he's a showman. I don't think he's one of the true talents that I feel like, even though he doesn't now, even 5 years ago, Shinsuke would not be in this.
No.
Because most of the time, because he couldn't talk. He could, and I think I think for him coming over here and learning the language as good as he has, his promos are actually not bad. They're keeping them short, and it works out real well for him. He's funny when he delivers. He's got one of the best deliveries, I think, as far as just being the emotion of his delivery, or if he's being snarky, he just kind of brings it across very well. But I think Nakamura has done an unbelievable job of his promos not being where they are yet, but has shown that he can put himself over other ways.
I mean, the more I look at Jinder Mahal, the more like an 80s wrestler he just looks like just like an old school type of heel,
right?
With the hair and just how big he is.
I think he's done I think he's actually done a pretty good job. They're actually picking up the pace a little bit with Jinder. Randy Orton doesn't really pick up the pace. So he's, we don't know if Jinder can even pick up the pace or not. So,
I think Jinder's a lot better wrestler than people give him credit for. I really do.
Oh, I think he's very solid in the ring. He's not fancy, but he could definitely, definitely be in a match. He's just a big bruiser. I don't think those are around anymore. No. You look at Samoa Joe and Brock, but not so much Brock. But Samoa Joe can do a lot of other things that big men really shouldn't do.
Well, even when Brock first came to WWE, wow, okay, that's one of those shock values.
I think you're ahead of me.
Oh, sorry.
Kinshasa. Actually, I don't have a problem with that booking.
I don't mind.
I know people are all shocked, but here's the thing: he's a heel, and he won by cheating.
Yes, I don't mind it. Like I said, it's great shock value. It's great for his heel run. I really think it's really time for them to push Nakamura. I really do. But it's a good way to book it if you don't book Jinder Mahal as a solid heel. It really is.
Well, I think people think, oh, that's it for Nakamura. This will be a better program. It'll push it out, make it a little bit more, I guess, believable. But
I think maybe what they're gonna do is maybe I'd like to see a feud between him and AJ for the U.S. belt, and maybe him take it off AJ, and then AJ get put back in to the World Championship picture. But
I just think that it's a good way to do it. Like the Singh brothers have been the best part of Jinder Mahal's run.
Oh yeah. That's just great. That's a great signing for WWE and a great way to bring them in.
Sure. I mean, I think we all wish that Nakamura, would have won the world title. I think Nakamura is more than deserving to win the world title. But I think, Jinder's been a good heel champ. I mean, Jinder's been a very good heel champ. People don't like him. He has natural heat because they just don't like him. I think if you let him hold the belt, I'm not saying you let him hold the belt till WrestleMania. I think at some point, you'll see a title change. But I think you build this feud up. I mean, think about it is, are we going to, maybe they do an AJ Nakamura feud for the U.S. title. Maybe they don't. But who else is there? Who else is going to feud with Jinder Mahal right now? There's no one. I mean, think about your top faces. They're all, AJ's is the U.S. title.
Yeah.
I already saw Orton.
Unless you do a heel. And
Unless it's Owens and Jinder.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's really.
But I mean, Owens is going into a program with Shane, so I think it's smart as far as kind of extending this feud. Now, it could be for a month, it could be for 3 months, it could be for 6 months. I don't know, but I think that they can. I think they're going to try to get as much as they can out of Jinder Mahal as champ, and when you have Nakamura, you can get a little bit more out of it.
Now, did I just see Sexy Star on Mae Young?
There's somebody in a mask. I don't know if that's her or not, though. Is it?
I don't know.
I figured she'd be under contract to Lucha.
I don't know. I just saw kind of flash by. You know who's in it though? My girl Candice LeRae.
Yeah.
She should win it. She probably out wrestle everybody on this whole thing.
Oh no, there's some pretty good ones on there.
I know. I'm just kidding. I'm just a big Candice LeRae fan. She takes bumps that hardly anybody, even men, won't take.
That's true. So it's main event time, right? Is this all? Is this we're heading towards? Okay.
With them not changing hands on that title, this title might actually change hands.
Yeah. Shauna's commented about the guy that has the replica belt, and he's holding it up, and he's got the AJ, and he's just super, super stoked to be there.
I would really love to see Joe win it here.
I think that's who I want to see win. I think Joe more than deserves a title. I think he's been. I mean, you talk about a white hot heel. I mean, he's been on it. I think that. So we've had 5 of the 7 title changes. I think we'll see a title change here. I don't think that with as much rumors. Well, not even rumors. The John Jones fight. Right. It's just. I mean, it's what's going to happen is just win.
This is where we may see Heyman turn on Lesnar.
Well, I mean I mean, we've talked about that before. I thought it would happen with Joe the first time. That Heyman would see Joe as a younger, better, faster version of Brock that he could manage, and even the promos with Joe saying, "I want Heyman as my manager, and I want this and that. I want to be Brock Lesnar." I thought that they've hinted at it pretty hard. And, Heyman's one of the reasons Joe has a job in WWE. Heyman really went to bat for Joe. And I think it'd be interesting to see that pairing. I think it'd be really interesting. I think it'd be great. I think it lets Brock kind of do what he wants to do. It sets up a feud later on if he ever wanted to come back. So
it's not something that has to be done because Joe's not a guy that needs a mouthpiece. And I'm not saying Lesnar needs a mouthpiece, but Lesnar's character needs a mouthpiece.
Well, I mean, he's not booked on TV every day.
Exactly.
So I think that's why he has a mouthpiece is because he's not booked on TV every day.
But, I mean, Heyman is just – I love Heyman. And I think that's one reason why you don't see Heyman. And I mean, I guess he has a creative spot. I don't know if he does or not.
No, I don't think he has anything to do creatively.
But I think because, I mean, he just outbooked Raw when he was SmackDown. I mean, that SmackDown those years. Or how long was he SmackDown general manager?
Well, he was part of SmackDown Creative for I think a good 2-3 year period until him and Stephanie didn't get along anymore.
And I mean, there's probably reason to that because he probably ran circles around everybody that was there. I mean, SmackDown was constantly beating Raw and.
That was one of the. I'm not saying that was the reason. He was. the rumors that I've heard is that him and Stephanie just didn't get along. Now I'm not saying that's the case now, but him and Stephanie would butt heads over creative stuff, and you know, Heyman's a genius. Like you don't have to like Heyman, but you have to admit that as a wrestling booker and creator, he's a genius. He's taken guys that have went elsewhere and just stunk it up, but he's made them superstars. Heyman can be, he created Stone Cold Steve Austin by just telling Steve Austin, just be Steve
himself,
Austin.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah. And Steve was never told that before. And then it even took WB, a good 2 years before, almost 3 years.
Ringmaster.
The Ringmaster. And then he was Steve Austin, and he was Stone Cold Steve Austin. But I think that, Heyman, as far as obviously a WB Hall of Famer at some point, but I think Heyman is very outspoken. I think Heyman is a terrible businessman, but loves wrestling and loves the guys that, that he works with. And I think he sees things in people that WB doesn't necessarily see. And I think that, he's done a great job at promoting talent and booking and writing and everything that kind of comes with it.
Let me ask you this. Do you think it would help Roman Reigns any if Heyman was beside Roman Reigns?
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. I don't think that Roman necessarily needs Heyman either. I think Roman just needs to be a heel. Yeah. I think Roman's a natural heel. We talked about that earlier, but the thing about it, all four of these guys, probably Strowman would be the guy that Heyman would kind of go with. And Strowman's actually not a bad promo guy. He's a very old school promo guy, but he does a decent job at it. You could probably argue that, he's probably better than Roman as far as promo work.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if I'll say much, but I mean, he is better than Roman on the mic. I do think that he would be it'd be interesting to see Heyman with someone like Strowman, that he does need still a little bit of help on the mic, and you put Heyman with him, and I mean, he's a white hot heel, I think.
The thing I like about Joe and the way that and this is Samoa Joe in any promotion that you see him in, is he don't back down from anybody. Like, you've seen people, even like, I think Roman Reigns backed down from Lesnar at one point in time. You see people back down from Lesnar all the time.
Right.
But Joe just don't back down.
Well, just like a great example here, Joe jumps in the ring and gets right in Braun Strowman's face. Yeah. And I think that, tell him he's going to put him to sleep and everything else. And that's where Joe's character, Joe's evolved his character, and now he's up to, hey, I'm Samoa Joe. I'm a bad dude. I'm just going to get up in your face and talk garbage to you. Mm-hmm. I think that's where Joe's character took a really big turn, is that he's always been this menacing type of guy. But then Kevin Owens talks about in his DVD about talking. He said, somebody told me a long time ago, if you're a heel, you just talk. And he said, so I never shut up. I think Samoa Joe kind of took that as well and be like, hey, I'm just going to talk. And I think that both of those guys, not only are they great in the ring, but their personality is extended because they never shut up. Like, they're always talking garbage, just like a great athlete would.
Yeah. Joe.
Well, Roman Reigns has failed to a certain extent.
Joe is always. He's probably one of the best athletes on the roster.
Oh, by far.
And the thing about Joe is, if he would have beat Lesnar, it would have been realistic. That's the thing.
Yeah. Well, he's a legitimate tough guy.
He is.
Even Cornette admits that Joe's a legitimate tough guy.
He's even. I think if I'm not mistaken, he's even trained in some mixed martial arts.
I think a lot of these wrestlers has brought mixed martial arts into their training. A lot of them. So I like to think, jumping in here right quick, I guess, channel there, so go check them out. Who? Roman doesn't have Spider-Man on his shirt. That's him jumping and punching someone.
Yeah, it looks like a spider.
the.
Looks like a blood
I can
sucking
see.
leech
I can see that. Joe said it looks
Or
like a
tick.
blood sucking leech.
or a tick.
Yeah, I can see that. I think it's pretty much a guarantee that we get a title change here.
I think so. I really do because if I think that the John Jones match will happen a lot sooner than people anticipate. I think
What are you talking about?
it'll probably be their last of the year, maybe. Hear me?
Do what?
I said I think the John Jones match will happen a lot sooner than people think. It could possibly be the last card of the year.
I think it's what they're probably shooting for. Is
So-
that last card of the year because they're usually their last card before a new year is usually pretty big.
Yep.
So I think it's probably what they're shooting for.
Man,
I think it's interesting with Brock, man. I think it's split. Like we talked about. Is it good to keep the title off TV? Is it good to keep it? Is it good to have it on Brock, who's very much a part timer, if you can even call him a part timer at this point?
well, part time you have to at least get 30 hours a weekend.
That's true. To be part time, you at least got to work 3 out of the or 2 out of the 4 Raws or whatever a month. But I think anytime you get someone like a Brock Lesnar, he's put on good matches. I mean, if you look now,
The same match, but
it's the same match, but it's a good match.
But what I was saying earlier too, and we were talking about Lesnar, is when Lesnar first came into WWE, he was an athletic,
right,
younger guy.
Oh, he looks completely different too. But
yeah. But now he's not that guy anymore. He's just a ground and pound or suplex city type of dude. I'd like to see him do suplex city on Braun Strowman. That's what I'd like to see.
Oh, he probably will.
But I don't know if y'all remember the last time that Braun Strowman was in the ring with Brock Lesnar, or I'm not going to say last time, but it was still the Wyatt family. It was the last time he was with the Wyatt family. Lesnar tried to clothesline him, and Strowman didn't sell it, and Lesnar ended up beating the crap out of him.
Right.
For real. So,
yeah, Strowman got a lesson: is always sell to Brock Lesnar unless he tells you not to.
Yep.
I just think, it's interesting when you look at all these guys in the ring. If you'd have told me that Brock Lesnar, Samoa Joe, and Braun Strowman would be in the ring together, like Roman, you kind of figured at some point he would be. But it's amazing to see, especially Samoa Joe.
Especially Joe, yeah.
Yeah, I gush about Samoa Joe, and people hear me talk about Samoa Joe. I've seen Samoa Joe put on great matches for years, whether it be ROH, whether it be Impact, or wherever he was at. And he has just, to see him grow, even now, like to see him grow from where he was at to where he was just a Samoan submission machine. And now he's kind of this tough guy, trash talker type of dude, almost like Brock was to a certain extent when he first came up. It's just cool to see him in WB being utilized by WB.
Yes.
I know that
was something that we never thought would happen.
Right. We figured at some point he would get here. Now, whether or not he would have been utilized right is what that's the question mark.
Well,
right?
Stone Cold said in his podcast that he should have been in WB years ago.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
So,
and Stone Cold's been singing his praises for
years.
7-8 years now.
Yeah. All right, which announce table gets broke?
The middle one. Whoever the middle one is.
Oh. This should be an entertaining match.
Oh, it should very well be. Yeah.
And what's the over under Lesnar bleeds?
Or maybe Lesnar makes somebody bleed.
No. Lesnar has paper thin skin on his forehead, man.
That's true.
Like he could flick Lesnar and it would bleed. I was watching. I can't remember what it was. Polygon, Facebook channel or Facebook. They done a. Yes, they done a.
Hey, I'm ahead. You're ahead of me, so.
Oh no. Polygon created like a 7-foot type of NBA Live 2017, and it looked a lot like Brock Lesnar.
Don't they do like the Monster Factory or something? Is that
Yeah.
what she's watching?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it cracked me up. Of course, I'll say that for later in the match. I like to see some tables. Yeah, it's just,
See, I think this right here is your WrestleMania, Mac Lesnar and Strowman. I think they should save that for WrestleMania.
I hate Lesnar just because I want Jimmy John's every time he wrestles.
And you're banned from Jimmy John's.
I eat a lot of Jimmy John's now. I don't go into Jimmy John's; they deliver. And that's something that I've seen Lesnar do here often is put people over.
Yeah.
I mean, not really put people over, but I guess after the whole Goldberg thing, it made him more beatable.
Yeah.
And I think he's starting to work with people that show that they can beat him, but he's still this monster of a man.
Right.
Oh.
I haven't. I must not got there yet.
No, you haven't got there yet because you'll be doing it too. Man, that was good. Oh God. This is what this match is going to be like.
I just saw Roman spear Lesnar through the.
I mean, he didn't spear, man. I mean, that was something.
Yeah, that was pretty rough.
That was a man tackle. That's probably one of the better spears I've seen anybody do.
Yeah. Oh God.
Which one?
Braun just hit Samoa Joe over the table.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. We have to get some table action. There we go. Kicking it old school. Doing the Mexican announce table.
Yeah.
Spanish announce table. I don't think I've ever seen somebody try to pick up the barricade
and hit somebody with it. Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty neat. I think that's if you ever notice, that's the way to get Brock Lesnar out of multi-people matches is to put him through a table.
Put him through a table.
It's almost like his kryptonite. Oh, yeah, it's a good shot. He sells it real well. So.
He sells it really well, and it lets these three guys shine too.
Yeah. It's been a good match so far.
It has been.
It's been entertaining. That's what you want out of a four-man match. Four-man matches are super hard to book. They was talking about I've listened to some podcasts where they're like people don't know how hard it is to be in a multi-person match.
Oh my God.
I just saw Samoa Joe just do the suicide dive.
No, this is different. This is Braun Strowman just threw a fastball. Pedro Martinez, Randy Johnson here. You'll see what I'm talking about here in a second.
Oh Lord.
I mean, that was Randy Johnson. Like,
is that becoming part of his moveset? Is like for him to throw one of those chairs?
I mean, it's quite impressive. I mean, those chairs are heavy.
Oh yeah, I bet those chairs are heavy. I wonder how many tablets they have to replace during a match like this, or like throughout the year, because he just threw like 3 tablets in the floor. I guess they're cheaper than those monitors used to be. They put Lesnar through 3 of those tables. He goes through all of them. If you're just joining us, we are in the main event, SummerSlam 2017, four-way WB Championship match. Of course, I'm sorry, Universal Championship match. On the Raw brand, we've got Lesnar, the champ, putting it on line between Braun Strowman, Roman Reigns, and Samoa Joe. And they have put Lesnar through two tables, trying to take him out. Referees are out there checking on him now, so it may become a triple threat match at this point.
No, I don't think it will be.
Rules of this match: the champion does not have to get pinned, so they could still book this for someone else to win and still kind of protect Lesnar.
Oh my
overall.
God!
So. Lesnar's bleeding. Is he bleeding?
No, you'll see here in a second. Like, I love it. I love how they're booking
Lord.
Strowman like in this match.
Oh God!
Like I'm loving this, dude.
This is like a Dragon Ball Z episode. Like you're putting like this is the equivalent of this is the equivalent of like dropping mountains on someone.
Let's put our visor down here and see what the power levels are. And right now Strowman's over 9,000.
Watch out, Fit Finley's out here. You better watch out. Has a shillelagh.
Yeah.
I like the sky view they're using.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, Heyman's great. Shauna's comment on how Heyman's face looks like they literally just stabbed.
Oh, I mean, the way
Brock Lesnar.
Brock's might be actually cut open on his back. Look and see when you roll him over, but I see a gash. I'm not sure though.
Well, I thought I saw blood on him, but I may be wrong.
I think he's gashed open on his back.
Oh, he's calling for the X himself. I wonder if he. Oh yeah, he's got a pretty good sized gash on his above his left shoulder blade.
Yeah.
I wonder what he hit on that second table.
The edge, maybe?
Oh, but there's a little plastic thing right there. No, I don't know what he hit. I guess maybe the edge. Yeah, maybe you're right.
Is he supposed to go out on the stretcher? Or
yeah, I say this is the stretcher
is...
spot is it's been playing, but I think that if you saw him, he actually threw up the X.
Yeah.
Yeah, which tells me that he might actually legit be hurt.
Hope not.
I hope not either, but
maybe he's just moving his arms.
Yeah. That's called protecting.
What?
Let me just tell a story about my wonderful wife. First of all, she's super hot. Second of all, and as you see, my face is not super hot. The second thing here is that my wife does not like wrestling. She has said numerous times she does not like wrestling. But over the course, we've been together now we're married for this October. And we've been together, 4.5, 5. And she does not like wrestling. But over the course of our relationship, she has become very good at picking up on things. Like, for example, she just said, is this the way for Brock Lesnar to be out of the match without him losing? Yes. She is super smart to the business now, Jill. I have smartened her up to the business.
Good.
She loves the New Day. She's a big New Day fan. And Mark Henry. She loves Mark Henry.
Everybody loves some sexual chocolate.
And Carl Winslow. And then she saw him young the other day when he first – one of the SummerSlams. She said, actually, that's like a young – what was his name? Eddie Winslow. He's Eddie Winslow in that one.
Yeah.
Oh, God. He just hit him he smacked him with the stairs.
Yeah. That
was a hard smack. Listen, those aren't headshots, but he bent the stairs.
Yeah.
That's the first time I've seen that in a while. And he almost threw the stairs on top of him.
Well, he kind of did throw the stairs on top of him on the bounce. I mean, those stairs, I get worried sometimes when they start throwing those stairs around.
I know, because they got points on them.
They got points, and
they got
you know that edge is like the bottom size of it
Yeah,
has to be
sharp.
sharp. I just expect Lesnar to run out of the back anytime.
So our buddy Ryan, we actually did try to stream our fantasy football league draft, but we had some technical difficulties trying to get it up. So you missed it. Sorry, buddy. We actually didn't get it up. So as far as trying to do like we did last year, I had everything set up and everything, and we just had some technical difficulties and couldn't get it up. It was about the third or fourth round before we got it up, so we just decided not to do it, unfortunately. But I do have another draft coming up that I may pop up and do a live stream of, possibly. But we appreciate you enjoying it. We were super bummed we didn't get a chance to do it, but we were so deep into it at that point that it really didn't make much sense for us to try to get it up. So, but I appreciate you watching this. I know, like I said, you're not a wrestling fan, but I appreciate you chiming in there. So,
Strowman's cut open.
Oh,
must have got cut open on those stair shots.
Okay, I want to tell you, I just saw Samoa Joe try to choke. Oh, man, he did cut the back of his ear, it looked like.
Yep. Which I don't know how the referee don't see that, because they usually put gloves on right off the get-go. And I'm buffering, so you might actually catch up.
I wonder where Braun Strowman got his pants. I like to eat a pair of pants like that.
Looks like a tackle box.
You can't have two people that look like tackle boxes. I want to start putting you on these live streams.
Both of them look like they shop at the same fishing supply.
Shauna said that.
I called it. Oh, sorry.
Golden-haired guy looks like a tackle box too.
Well, you just ruined it. I can't remember what you called, so I don't remember.
Okay.
Oh, he's not cut too bad. I think he just got scraped.
Yeah, it looks like it was like gashed open though.
Uh-oh, here comes the monster. The monster's in the ring.
Oh.
The beast is coming down the highway. Yeah, behind his ear.
No, this guy.
Oh, I don't know. I thought I saw a gash.
I did too,
Maybe I don't
but
see it now.
apparently not. It might have been just his tattoo, the way his tattoo looked.
Possibly, but it looked like a big gash.
It did
though.
look like a
Okay.
gash.
Maybe they glued it.
Under his arm, maybe. I thought I saw some blood. You see underneath his armpit?
No, but I'm pretty sure it's there. I know there's something there. Shauna said they may have glued it, which they may have very much did that.
I mean, it's not like it's a Sabu type of cut where he came back in, but
I see it now. Okay, I see it.
yeah, underneath his armpit.
Yeah. You mean when Sabu sewed his arm, basically, tied his arm back on?
Yeah. Oh man, that was nasty though. Ugh.
Oh, that was terrible, wasn't it?
I don't get too squirmish around blood, but I almost passed out when I saw that for the first time.
Let me tell you which one was a bad one. Remember when Bob Holly cut his back open on that table against Rob Van Dam when ECW was still there? Man, that was bad.
Another one, that botched ladder that Joey Mercury took to the face.
Oh, that was crazy. Now remember, you're ahead of me, so don't do anything crazy here. Oh man, it was a terrible spear.
It was a terrible spear. I didn't say anything when it happened, but
yeah, that was bad. I don't think it was necessarily Roman's fault though.
What time?
I just don't think Brock took it very well. I don't know. I'm afraid to touch it. I'm afraid I'll mess it up.
Uh-oh. Mine's buffering.
Tell me when you pop up, because mine's like Roman's just now getting up to try to do another spear, it looks like.
That's still. Oh, did I pause it? Oh, I accidentally paused it.
He just did the ooh-ah. And then Samoa Joe grabs him. Where you at?
I'm ahead of you still.
Okay. I think it's still impressive that Braun Strowman can even get up to do any sort of drop kick.
Yeah. Where you at now?
Samoa Joe just got power slammed. That was a great pull out by Lesnar. Like, I really thought that match was over.
I'm gonna pause it for a second. When you see something happen that we usually see, let me know.
That we usually see?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I saw the Superman punch.
Okay.
Okay.
You may be a couple seconds ahead of me now, but that's fine. We're closer than we were. Wow.
You know, if Roman wouldn't do the ooh-ah thing, he may win some more matches.
Yeah. I mean, when they bring The Rock in to try to push you and they still can't do it, I don't know. I really want Jimmy John's now. Thanks, Brock. I'll take a veggie with extra provolone, extra onions, extra cucumbers, easy on the lettuce, regular peppers, and extra guac, please. Or
This match has been on. When does this match start?
It's been on for. It's been on for about 30 minutes.
Right?
It's 10:56. It's been on for a good 30 minutes already.
Maybe I forgot it was complete chaos when it first started.
Yeah, maybe 20.
I say probably 20. I'd probably say not a half hour mark yet, but I say 20. A good 15 minutes. Oh my gosh! Oh,
I thought he was gonna do it.
I thought that would be really impressive.
Oh God, I hope Lesnar didn't get hurt there. That could have been a bad spot.
Yeah, he got dropped a little bit weird there.
He did get dropped a little. I was afraid his knee might have hyperextended. I don't think it did though, but that would have been a spot where to do it. All right, so up until this point, I think the only person that hasn't had a pin attempt is Joe.
Yeah. He's got a couple of submission attempts, but nothing
no
pin-wise.
Now, this is what you could do if you – I'll say what you could do to save – because Lesnar still hasn't been – well, no, he has been pinned by Goldberg, but that's really the only person Lesnar's been pinned by in like 6 years or something like that.
Didn't Taker pin him?
Did he pin him?
Then hit him with a low blow.
I don't think Taker ever pinned him. Well, no, remember it was a controversy that he did pin. He did get pinned by Taker, but remember his shoulder was up.
Oh, yeah.
So they really didn't.
I mean, the last one to pin him was Goldberg, regardless, but the best wrestler on the planet, I'm joking.
I mean, the way that Joe's been booked in this match, though, it's really leaning to his favor because he's not been utilized that much. He's had his little spots here and there, but
yeah.
God, stop cocking the arms. It's so dumb.
That doesn't bother me as much when he does the hoo-ha thing or whatever.
I know, but he's doing it every single time.
I know, it is kind of stupid.
Let's do it one more time. No.
He's such Roman Reigns is like an old school WWE character. I think it's why people don't like him. He's booked just like, like a Hogan or a Cena as far as like this guy that just has all these,
cheesy moves.
Yeah, basically.
A Rock.
In a world that, AJ Styles can do a springboard 450, Well,
All right.
interesting. Roman took the pin there.
Mm-hmm. So we had, what, 5 titles change hands? The last 2 didn't?
Yeah, 5 of the 8.
Hey, look at all that carnage.
I know.
Like a war zone out there.
Wonder who they're finally going to give that Brock Lesnar rub to. Like, who are they going to?
I don't know.
Because just like you said a couple weeks back on when we did our last wrestling podcast, where Brock really likes Joe.
Yeah. I mean,
And so it figures to shoe in that Brock would have some kind of say in who beats him or whatever.
he loved working with Joe in the singles. So, of course, he does look like a Jack beat. I'm surprised he didn't show him come back out, though, in this montage.
Yeah.
He was carted out, but then he came back out. I think they try to capture that feeling that Mankind had, you know, when he almost got killed.
Yeah.
Which, if you would have told me that the worst bump that he probably took in that match wasn't the table bump, it was the one where he fell onto the chair.
The one through the cage. Yeah.
But the fact, that match, just the fact that Undertaker's foot was broken and he climbed the top of the cage. And then Mankind got thrown off, got his arm separated, his shoulder separated, and then climbed back up the fence with a separated shoulder. I mean, that's just crazy.
And that's it. So Brock Lesnar retains the Universal Championship. To my surprise, I figured one of those titles would change hands tonight. But
yeah.
So all right. Well, that's been it. So that's been our very first Facebook Live feed. So I hope everybody enjoyed it, got a chance to watch a little bit of it there. But hopefully we'll do a couple cool other things to this as well and kind of fool around with it. But yeah, so it's late. I want to get off here. So with for Joe and Jared didn't make it on, but for Jared as well, thank you for tuning in to our SummerSlam 2017 coverage. And don't forget about the podcast, Monsters of Geek podcast on iTunes, Spreaker, and Stitcher, and also the blog, monstersgeek.com. All right, we're out.